alive.
We're live! Crikey! We're live. I can't believe it. We're back. We're back for another week, Artie. Oh, feels good.
I'm very excited.
Oh shit! It's playing in the background.
It gets you every time.
It does get me every goddamn time.
Looks like we got a fucking rookie over here, huh? What's this baby's first fucking stream, mate?
I've got like multiple windows like playing.
He has like
my
7,000 tabs open.
Crikey, I'm hearing like an echo from down under. It's because the signal goes around the earth. You see what I mean, right? It echoes back. It's like, ooh, but it's upside down or something. How you doing, Artie? You all right, mate?
Ha, dude. I've been waiting for this for a while. So there seems to be an ebb and flow with James Lindsay. It seems like people just have enough of him, then they don't want to think about him, but he keeps working his way back into doing something absolutely ridiculous. He has created the woke right, which doesn't exist, yet keeps losing to the shadow he created.
Well,
it's
this is
legendary Hall of Fame lolcow stuff. I haven't seen anything like it.
Well, this is the thing, right? For a while, he was presumably taking the advice of, the other sort of group of YouTubers who are not in any way connected to a certain state in the Middle East, right? And doing that sort of tactic of, don't engage with your interlocutors, right?
Yep.
Right? Remember quite famously, right? Sargon called him out, right? And he was like, debate me, bro. And Lindsay was like, I'm not going to debate you, Sargon. What do you know about anything? Sargon, of course, famously ignorant about matters of politics and philosophy, which is why he runs that YouTube channel about small toy cars, right? And, every single time Carl veers into politics, everyone's like, what are you talking about politics, Carl? What do you know? Like, where have you even been there, Carl, right? And so that was holding for a while. And then, I don't know, mate, right? He must have been sitting at home, caressing his milky bosom, right? And, Carl put that tweet out, right? And he couldn't help himself, mate, right? He's full of piss and vinegar and Zionism. And he was just like, right, that's it, Carl. I'm gonna do you. I'm gonna do you, mate, right? And so he sharpened up his digital shiv. And
have you ever wondered, or has anyone in the chat ever wondered, how did James Lindsay get here? How did he get to this point? Because he wasn't always like this. In certain ways, he was always like this, but in certain ways, he wasn't always like this. Ever wonder, like, I wish I had a timeline of things James Lindsay has said and espoused, and kind of see them in a chronological order to try and figure out what on earth, how did he have such a fall from grace? That's what we're going to try and discover today. And I think we're going to get pretty close. We're going to have to speculate a little bit. But we have as many receipts as possible. Literally, we had a list, and then Mr. Fist last night finds some quality gold, and we had to adapt around that. It's never ending. We're literally showing you, I'm not exaggerating, 5% of what we've discussed and found. So this isn't the last stream we're doing on James Lindsay. This might just be a weekly thing at this point. There's too much.
Yeah, I mean, we may as well ride the mythical cow with its fabulous wokish udders as far into the sunset as we possibly can. I mean, why does James get to be the only person, right, who makes views off retarded engagement? Aren't we meant to be living in an open society, right?
Well, he only makes views when they're not on his channel. His channel doesn't make views. There's views when he goes on Jordan Peterson or with John Stossel, or when he goes on somebody else's, one of the few friends he has left when he goes on their channels. That might generate some views, Roseanne or something like that. His channel doesn't. It's so strange. He has this company called New Discourses, which is just James Lindsay. Everybody knows it. But as we're going to find out, it didn't really start out that way. And it has kind of a weird beginning to it.
Yes,
but there is nothing more. Has anybody tried debating or conversing with a James Lindsay follower? It's pretty insufferable. Like,
mate, I got to do a little detour. I actually ran into my first woke centrist extremist the other day. It was really fucking weird, right? Basically a leftist, right? All the tactics of the leftist, right? Just assert stuff, call you like a fascist,
Baseless
call you a
accusations.
bot, right? Call you like an idiot, right? And here he is, right? This lone guy on Twitter defending against the left deviation and the right deviation, caught in an existential struggle. Nazis all around. And the weird irony, right? And is that I think Lindsay is actually generating extremism, right? Because his position is so rigid and his terms so poorly defined, right? That look, mate, you can take the lefty out of the university, but you can't take the university out of the lefty. Wait, did I say that right? You know what I'm saying, right? Once a lefty, it just digs in like a huge tick or something. We got our first super chat. Big time for $5. Christ. First chat, big time. That's a big time. It was funny watching Lindsay say to Carl on X that the Moos deserve their own Mooland, but that England must remain a multicultural liberal utopia. Yes!
You discussed that. If you want, Hype You and Yiz that talked about that too, the show where they can go and watch that.
That's right.
You guys discussed that.
Yiz the Eunuch and myself actually talked about that exact topic, right? Like, why are they the only ones that get an ethno-state? If you would like to watch it, you can check it out on Yiz's channel. Yiz, I know you're in the chat. Drop a link. Oh, you can't drop a link because you're not modded. I should look up the link. Artie, you want to take over? Say something to the nice people.
Recently, I talked to a Lindsay follower. I found him in the link to this. I made a post about this stream coming up, and of course, a Lindsayite, because I've been spamming it all over Lindsay's posts. I know his rhythm at this point. Aristocratic Utensil put me onto this. Now, he noted how often James Lindsay posts. And so I started to notice around 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, it seems like he wakes up, and before he gets out of bed, he Spurg posts like 15 times. So I was able to start posting a link for this stream within like 45 seconds of him posting things, really in his rhythm. Then he probably takes a shit and showers and does his morning routine. He takes a break around 9:30. And then right around 10, he starts sprinkling throughout the day. So I've been lighting up his post. So obviously that's going to draw some sort of Lindsayite. There was one Lindsayite that we're going to look at in just a second, who now it's exactly, I should just call him a Lindsayist because it's like talking to a Marxist. When you talk to a Marxist,
I prefer the term woke centrist. Yeah. I know there was some debate over what to call these people, but it seems like woke centrism has in fact won. Thank you very much. I will take my cash prize because it is right. It is basically woke centrism, right? In Lindsay's own definition, right? It is attaining a critical consciousness, seeing a thing that no one else can see, right? Being in an existential crisis, right? And having to defend. So yeah, woke centrism. Sorry, Artie, please go on.
No, it's fine. If you want to pull up the guy that was trying to shit on me, he's like in the comments. He was like, "Well, so are you gonna pull up his research?" And it's like, if James Lindsay shit his pants in public, and I was like, "Hey guys, come over here, look at this. You're not gonna believe it. James Lindsay just shit his pants. Everyone saw it. It fucking smells. It's running down his leg. It's filling up his shoe." And this guy pops out of nowhere from a fucking potted plant and goes, "Oh, you're not gonna reference his research?" Like, it's not the focus of. No, it's not really the focus. Literally, how many streams have a custom trailer to it? I make a trailer for the stream to let you know we're going to be going through the years of what James Lindsay has said. It specifically says it in there, but he has to do this Marxist tactic where he's like, "Oh, so have you read Lindsay? Sounds like you haven't read his work." It's like, is there anything else to criticize him on? And so this person says,
I have read his work extensively, actually, right? I used to be a bit of a fan of the old Lindsay boy as it goes, right?
We're gonna cover that.
Taught me about Hegel, taught me about Marcuse, Adorno,
and it was correct,
right? Like all of the great post-war Jews. He taught. I learned it from you, Dad.
So this is how insufferable these people are. Okay, So John T says, are you actually going to reference any of his work research? If not, that'll be a very woke criticism logic. So making fun of James Lindsay, because he doesn't give you anything to make fun of him about, making fun of James Lindsay is woke if you don't address his work / research. What work / research? This is what they do with like debates too. There's been 2 Lindsay'ites that have challenged me to a debate. I'm like, what do you want to debate? They're like, are we going to debate it or not? It's like, about what? They learn these words. They don't know what they mean. And so this dude starts spurging. I'm like, buddy, how is it woke? How is it woke? What does this word mean anymore? And so I used to call this the lefty steamroll.
Yeah.
Where he's like, oh, a definition. Under what definition is it woke? Well, here's a noun. Here's a verb. Here's an adjective. He's like doing, he's trying to do Spurg magic spells. He's like, Hadouken, noun, adjective, verb. Which definition do you want? Synonyms, antonyms, haha, I win. And it's like, how does that apply to me making fun of James Lindsay contradicting himself? Like, as if there's nothing to make fun of James Lindsay about. Just fucking, it's too much.
The thing is, right, it is a fucking terrible definition. I think I replied to this guy, right? But
yeah,
one of the reasons why the Israel exception is so effective against Lindsay and the Lindsay'ites, right, is for this exact framing. Okay, right? A uniquely Western philosophy grounded in Marxist and Maoist ideology, which promotes the end goals of no, right? And it talks about the 2 categories, the oppressors and the oppressed. All right. Now, if you think that you are oppressed, you by like a society, you are therefore woke. The problem is, right, by that definition, the Jews in the Warsaw Ghetto were woke, right? Like it's just
Warsaw Ghetto.
Retarded.
How about 109 expulsions woke? Like they're the wokest people that have ever fucking existed. You kidding me? If that's the definition,
you can imagine Lindsay walking into the Warsaw Ghetto. Right. And the Jews are like, oh, you know, the Nazis, you know, they won't let us take certain jobs and they're taking all of our stuff and our opportunity. And Lindsay walks up and just being like, you're just being woke. Right. Oh, look at you claiming to be oppressed. Like, but of course, this is the exception that blows a hole in this entire thing, which again is what Carl wheeled out like a fucking nuclear bomb on a little fucking wheel cart, right? And was like, it's time to deploy some 4chan, because this has been this concept has been going around on 4chan for years, right? To see like Carl just like wheel that shit out and just be like, nuclear bomb time, right? I can't do a Sargon impersonation, right? But you know, if I could, right? Oh, we got crikey. We got
flowing like the Nullarbor River. Look at them coming in.
Like the Nullarbor River. Money flows through the super chats like rivers through the Wombat, like dingoes through Ayers Rock. So I got Ardent Party for $5 Canadian. Aren't those called loonies? For $5 loonies. Struth. Jesus, it's Artie and Fist. Meantime, I'll be streaming at 9 Eastern. Ardent plays on the green one. I presume he means Rumble. Fandom Friday. Oh, and pour one out for Buddha. Is it for butter? I don't know. Anyway, right? Like, so yeah, check out Artie's stream. He's a good lad. Cheap advertising at twice the price. If anyone else would like to advertise anything by sending us money, it's cool, right? We're chill. Deep Pool Kid for $10. One of the things I get a little annoyed by the internet now is that everything is either woke or based. I don't think people even know what is woke or based. It's a damn mind virus. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Totally.
No one says woke and based more than James Lindsay. He unironically, I believe, he will. Yep, it's in one of the clips. He says based unironically. He says red pill as like a descriptor without a hint of irony attached to it. High school must have been fucking horrific for him. The hazing that he must have went through. He wants to be cool so bad.
He even put out a t-shirt with like
based.
I know. No, because I've got one moldering in the back of my cupboard somewhere, right?
You didn't have to say that. You didn't have to say that.
In 2019 or something. Look, it was a long time ago. Fuck you, right? Like, you know. And Dongus Cock 69, your mum. For $2. Moose Rail is woke, right? Yes.
Well,
Thank
you
very much, Dongus Cock.
that's the funny part, is that everything applies to Israel. It was the worst time. I don't know. I swear to God that, like, behind closed doors, they're very implicative with their tones, and they imply what, and everyone's on board. Everyone gets it. Constantine hears it, and he goes, "Okay, Wilk, right? I'll write an article about that." James Lindsay actually got high on his own supply, and he's like, "Oh, I know what to do." And I feel like they've been trying to tell him to stop ever since, and he is just off to the races.
I mean, this reply is fucking amazing too,
It's
right? Like
fucking
it
crazy.
perfectly encapsulates, right? National socialism is not the answer to this socialist world order.
Where did that come from?
Why is, right, any group representation for whites, right, now automatically National Socialism, right? Is it National Socialism when, like, the Qataris, like, favor, like, their citizens over foreigners, right? Like, to hear these people talk it, literally any governmental system that values the rights of the people, the indigenous people of that country over the foreigner is National Socialism, right?
But isn't it just crazy how a fucking Lindsayite all of a sudden jumps right to fucking Nazis when I'm like, I'm sorry, how is me making fun of James Lindsay woke? Haha, National Socialism. Like, this feels like a fucking Marxist. It's incredible. We already got to. How did we get
there? The National Socialists very famously made fun of James Lindsay, right? You know, they had one of the black sort of tech experiments, right, of the Nazi occultists was to peer into the future, right? Because, right, they were, well, I mean, you might not be aware of this, Artie, right? This is very, very secret, deep knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Norse mythology,
yeah,
there is a primordial cow, right, called Alhambra, right?
Is that a picture of me? A picture of me and James Lindsay right there?
Yes, it is, right? Now, when the Nazis were searching for this primordial cow, right, the Vril Society, right, they looked into the future, and the closest thing that they could find, right, was James Lindsay's generous and milky woke centrist bosom, right? So that's how they came to know of James Lindsay back in the past. Apparently, when they told the Führer of their discovery, he was horrified. And so yes, making fun of James Lindsay is National Socialism, right? Just
James Lindsay can't argue with it. Is a giver with a hard R. That man won't stop. It's overwhelming. I'm not lying, guys. We are giving you 5% of what we discussed and talked about privately, and we're trying to muddle it together. But that's the thing. He keeps coming up, and then he's just brought up and it goes away. That's why I want to have a nice definitive timeline, something cohesive, something people can clip, to be able to refer back to. Did we get a super chat?
Mm-hmm. Another $5 from Big Time. Thank you very much, Big Time.
Oh, Big Time! Swinging it around like it's nothing.
It's a very big time. For the very based stream, no wokeism allowed. That's right. Only base things are allowed on this stream.
But I know what he means. I know what the other person means. How based and woke are just thrown around, but you can also use them correctly.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But just people overuse it, and but they're not kidding. Like, a lot of streamers would go, based. And it's like, okay, like, you're saying it ironically. Fucking James Lindsay is backwards hat, Steve Buscemi, skateboard over his shoulder, saying hello, fellow kids, when he says fucking based every single time.
Hello, fellow based kids, right? You wanna go and eat some red pills together, right? Like, gee, I sure do love the nation of Israel.
Yes.
Don't you love the nation of Israel, kids?
Dude, I mean, I'm so glad you guys covered the what happened with Carl, because it is just so tone deaf and so brazen that he has no argument, and I don't think he's getting paid at this point. I think he is literally high on his own supply. It's Halen's razor. He's too stupid to be evil. He really believes what he's saying. Constantine Kissin knows how to play the game. I don't think James Lindsay fails at playing this game, and he fucking brings it on to himself.
You would never see Kissin being so unprofessional, right? Like Kissin would never debate Carl on this topic, right? He would just completely act like Carl doesn't exist, right? Because Kissin has that big Jew energy. Right?
I know, but Carl Benjamin is the Roadrunner, and James Lindsay is Wile E. Coyote. He fucking just can't get his hands on him, but he's always stalking him. He's always fucking starting a fight with him. He's always initiating a conflict with him and then refuses to debate him. And then he platforms what Carl Benjamin says, which gets way more engagement than whatever James Lindsay said. And then James Lindsay has no argument to what Carl said. And then Carl ends on a rhetorically strong note, further bolstering Carl Benjamin's point. It's the exact opposite. In any sort of debate class, you would go, what James Lindsay is doing is the exact opposite of what you should do. Here, let me show you what not to do.
So wait, do we play this Rogan clip you got like lined up?
No, we gotta start in 2012. You're starting us off. Oh my god, you found a gem. You gotta start us off in 2012 with his fucking massage days.
Okay. So we will start with James's Wikipedia page, right? Which, you know, I hadn't really looked at before, but, you know, since we were doing a deep dive, I mean, look, man, if he can go around, right, and attack my friends and my ideological fellow travelers, right, and wildly speculate that like literally everyone in our sphere is like part of an op.
to discredit them, by the way.
Just want to say, right, Mossad, right, like, you know, we're really quite cheap. You know, right, like, you know, if you were to drop like a couple $100,000, we would absolutely, you know, be like, oh, hello, fellow kids.
Yeah, because there's so much money in what we're doing, right? This isn't taking the hard way at all, right?
I just put a down payment on my third private island, mate. You know, like I'm in the queue to own Little St. James, right? It's going to be a delightful time. Right. So okay, so you know, Wikipedia. I'm like looking through the thing, right? And one of the links on Wikipedia leads to this, right? So this is no, wait, hang on. We'll just go back to the Wikipedia. I just want to like point something out. Okay, right. Now, one of the real annoyances that I have with Lindsay, right, is that I actually studied political science and international relations at university, right? James did not, right? And it is really, really clear that he did not, right? And although he's absorbed like a lot of stuff since, he never did first year, second year political science, right? Which is a bit like, imagine, you know, like, you know, I get into some like tech adjacent field, right? Or math adjacent field, right? And I never like really mastered basic math, okay, right? But I've got some kind of like, you know, rubric or cheat code or like calculator or something like that. And so I can basically most of the time swing it. But then occasionally I'll get into situations where it's really obvious that I don't know basic math. That's what James is like, except with political science, right? First year of political science, all you do is power, right?
James Lindsay has a fear. He has a fucking phobia of power. He has a fear of it.
Oh, I disagree. I reckon
we always disagree on this. Yeah.
No, if you offered him actual power, he would take it in a heartbeat, I reckon, right? Like, you know, and I think he'd be very, very bad at wielding it personally, right? Because again, right, he, you know, in to hear him talk about it, the attainment, holding, and exercise of power is leftism, which would make every single fucking society and every single government like ever in all of history woke left.
He's handing everything to the left. He's handing it to them. This is theirs, is what he's saying.
What I really love is on the Wikipedia page, he has promoted right-wing conspiracy theories such as cultural Marxism and LGBT grooming conspiracy theories.
Yeah, he knows what it's like to be branded as far right, which we will see. So when he levies that accusation, he understands the weight of it. He's been on the receiving end of it.
Yep. He turns around and he does it to fucking other people, right?
Right.
Okay, so he did his PhD in what was it? Come on, where's the summary? Early life. Not like that, bro. It's not like that, right? So he got a PhD in mathematics at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Very nice,
in 2010.
White, functional city, Knoxville, or so I hear. Not a lot like London or Memphis, for example. right?
Memphis is
Like
terrible. Memphis is one of
Memphis
the
is
worst.
fucking.
It's underrated with how bad it is.
It is the Negro cost. Memphis, my fucking god, mate. That place is just like, oh mate, I was only there for like about a week. I think I nearly died like twice.
Dude, the homicide rate per capita there is among the highest in the country. It's higher than Chicago, I believe, just because of, most of Chicago is fine. It's just one little area that seems to have a problem.
Oh, I could believe it.
Yeah, but that one little area is most of Memphis. So the per capita there is way worse than Chicago.
Yeah. So look, James, right? If you want to experience what it's like to live in one of these cities, you don't even have to leave your state. Just go to Memphis, man. Just hang out in downtown, like around Beale Street, right? Just hang out on the sidewalk, go to the Bass Pro Shop, right? And then, and then maybe you'll have an understanding, right, of why some of us whites believe that we need at least some organization in our own self-interest, mate. Right? Don't sit on your flabby ass in Knoxville where everything's like nice and tell people in fucking London, Bristol and Birmingham, oh, you shouldn't whites shouldn't have any collective interest, self-interest or not. And then wonder why everyone is yelling at you, right? Fucking hell. Oh, we got $2 from Use the Eunuch. Memphis is a negropolis.
Dude, how far from James Lindsay does Yiz live?
Not that far.
Right? Pretty close. Possibly bump into him at the grocery store or something. Your mic may have cut out. I can't hear you. I think they gotta be within an hour of each other, I would imagine. Oi, mate. Where are you, mate? I can't fucking hear you, mate. Well, you are controlling the video. You are also controlling what is on screen. He lives less than 2 hours away. That is fucking wild. I can only imagine spotting him in the wild. That's the thing, though. He's not enough to be a celebrity, but there's been a couple of times when he's been to, New York City and a fellow Lindsayite was there and noticed him. Yep, you're good. You're back.
Right. Restream likes to do this thing where it just deselects my mic and then puts another audio driver in its place. I love how that works. Right.
All right. So he gets his degree in 2010. Okay.
Wait, hang on. We got super chats. Big time for $2. Memphis had 2,000 juvenile arrests last year. Woof. And obviously, because all people are the same, because that is what classic liberalism teaches us. The distribution of those arrests are completely race blind. Obviously, I'm sure.
Well, their population isn't. It's a pretty decent sized city. You just don't hear about Memphis a lot. It is particularly horrific.
Oh yeah. Dark Resurrect for $5. Memphis overtook Chicago as the unaliving capital of the US. I actively drive an hour out of my way to avoid it if I have to go that way. Yeah, I'm not fucking surprised, mate.
Dude, I'm telling you. I also went to, and I found this out the hard way. I was on a road trip and I drove through Baltimore, and I was in Baltimore. I'm not kidding, for 5 minutes, and a pregnant, barefooted 13-year-old black girl walked up to my car like a zombie and put her hand on the window. And I went, you know what, guys? Let's skip Baltimore. I was barefooted, pregnant, looking like a child.
That's some deepest, darkest Africa shit, man. Right? That's the kind of shit you expect to hear when you're like, oh, we went for a rally drive in South Sudan, right? No,
dude.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I was like, there's a baseball stadium here. What the fuck is going on? Hey, you want to see the Ravens? You want to go check out the football game? No, I'd like to leave, actually.
Right. Okay. So he got his PhD in Knoxville in 2010. His doctoral thesis is titled Combinatorial Unification of Binomial-like Arrays, right? Now, I don't understand what the fuck that means, right? And I would not try and pretend that I know shit about advanced math. I'm not that way, right? I'm not trained, okay?
Yeah.
Right? And as much as I hate credentialism, right? And yes, universities are shitty. Politics is a vocation. It is a speciality. There is this is the great live democracy that anyone can just pick up. Oh, one day I decide to do a politics. Nigga, you can't, right? Like, oh, it's a specialty. You need to study, right? Like, anyway, it's fine, right? So after completing his degree, he left academia and returned to his hometown where he worked as a massage therapist, right? He suffered like a back injury of some kind. I don't want to laugh at that, man. Back injuries are no fun.
I will. What an idiot. Go ahead.
Oh,
Dude. Friend-enemy distinction. I'm going to try and act like the woke right as much as I can. His worst nightmare comes true.
So you're going to conform to the stereotype, are you? Right.
Yeah, he doesn't make anybody into an enemy or a friend. Only people like me do that.
So as far as I can find, this is the earliest sort of media mention of James. Maryville man walks path of healing and combat. The hands that hurt can be the hands that heal.
Wait, is that in the article?
Oh wait, I'm not sharing it. Sorry, right?
Yeah.
Look, this is a real article. This is a real article, right? This is from the Daily Times, which is like I can't read. Blount County's newspaper of record.
Dude, did his aunt fucking write this about him to make him feel good? Was this a family member that wrote this?
I've got no idea. Look, it's a local paper, okay, right? Like, sometimes local papers, they just, they need like stuff, right?
Healing and combat, because he keeps saying he knows martial arts, and it's like, bro, no martial artist says I know martial arts. They say I know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I know Kung Fu, I know Muay Thai, and for 5 years, I did 5 years of wrestling. Nobody says I've been doing martial arts since 1995, which is what he fucking said. Sorry, I'm not referencing his fucking work. Sorry, I'm not referencing his work. That's a retarded thing to say. I'm sorry.
Well, if we were doing a trial, Artie, we would say that this speaks to character, right? So if we were presenting this evidence, right, and the defense piped up and it's like objection, relevance, right? You could be like, well, Your Honor, this speaks to character, right? We're examining how credible this person is, right? Should we take what they say at face value, right? Or could it be that they're a little bit tardy, right? Look.
Dude, I gotta read this right now, dude. The hands that hurt can be the hands that heal. Maryville resident Jim Lindsay. So he used to go by Jim. He must have gotten bullied with the name Jim and changed to James. There has to be horrific memories of the name Jim if they're calling him Jim. Has walked through a winding path in life that has led to a vocation of healing, even while cultivating the devastating power of martial arts.
The devastating power.
He told them to say that. I refuse to think. There's no picture. Oh my god, this is. He still reads.
wait.
Late at night.
Arden Party said something really funny. James Lindsay is the Steven Seagal of political discourse.
Yeah, he can only beat up opponents that let him do it. Actually, that's actually brilliant. It's actually brilliant. None of his shit works in real life. It just looks flashy. And if you're a fucking stupid 8-year-old, you go, wow, he can really fight. That's actually perfect.
Co-owner of Twisted Roots Bodywork, Lindsay makes his living as a massage therapist, using the skill of his hands to help relieve his clients of chronic pain. He is also a practitioner of a martial art style known as Yin style, Bagyua Zhang.
Hold on. Yin style. There you go.
Yin style. Okay, right?
Ching ching chong chong. Go ahead.
You know how fucking busy I am? Right. Lindsay is one of about a dozen people in the nation, handpicked by the Grand Master of this particular lineage, He Jinbao of Beijing to represent it in the US. He teaches the martial art free of charge. Oh, well, I mean, that's nice,
So
right?
hold on. So he graduated in 2010, and then in 2012, he all of a sudden knows this martial art. Dude, this is I am calling bullshit on this lore. I'm calling bullshit on it, dude. That doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever.
No, you could have been learning it for a while, right? Like, we don't know how he came to know the Bug Huang master, right? Maybe he was like drinking in a pub, right? And there's this like Chinese dude sitting there stroking his mustache.
Never mind. I completely believe this now because I completely believe this because I can completely picture James Lindsay saying this. There's no contradiction between the disciplines of massage and martial arts, Lindsay said. I see them as being deeply complementary. My teacher's teacher has information about how you can use the principles of the martial art to heal. It's old school Chinese stuff. Whoa, this guy's brilliant. 2 years out of school and I can barely wrap my brain around what he's saying.
He's focusing his chi, right? Like, you must focus the chi will move through you, right? You make the movement, you are focused the chi, right? I mean, that's basically, I'm pretty much like, it seems like a sort of offshoot of Qigong, right?
No one really knows this about me, but I am a huge kung fu movie fanatic. I have many VHS tapes in my apartment. So, Qigong is a real thing. A practitioner is a real thing. They don't fucking say old school Chinese stuff. Yeah, I believe all of this is true now. I can completely picture him saying that.
Yeah. Oh, we got more super chats.
Jesus
Christ. Dongus cock. 69. It's funnier when you say it in the Australian accent. It's such a great name. $5. Lol. James Lindsay gives happy endings IRL. You can't make this up. And does karate to chop the meat. Now that is a cursed image. Oh my god. Fucking hell. Big time for $2. James Lindsay's warrior name, Sum Ting Wong.
Yes, and his favorite food is low fat yogurt.
The Ghost of Pinochet for $10. Yeah, I'm a martial arts master as well. I main in 9mm bang boom and dabble in 300 blackout wando. James is the ultimate douche. That's amazing. Ghost of Pinochet. I am actually also approaching a gray belt in 762.
Fucking gray belt.
Yeah. Well, it got a bit dusty, right? I was at the range, and it fell off.
Hey, you wouldn't get it with the 9mm bang boom. It's old school American stuff, okay?
I mean, I'd wash it, right? But it's covered in tannerite dust, and I'm sort of worried, if I fold it too much, it might explode. So, right? What else have we got? We got more super chat. Jesus Christ,
mate!
Deadpool Kid for $5. Good to see you, Deadpool Kid.
My man.
James, my D&D character is an elven fight with a +50, +80 strength on Chi Mana. I presume that is a new edition D&D reference. I don't like first edition.
I believe it.
D&D is all I understand, mate. Sorry, but thank you very much for the super chat. Here's the unique for $2. Lindsay's style is a sloppy toppy choppy.
Right?
Oh God, yes. Why that is
James
cursed.
Lindsay is heavily armed with a Glock.
Oh,
heavily armed.
Come on, bro. Total Blackout painting for $10. Good to see you, TBP. How you doing, my bro?
Fuck yeah.
Kung Fu movies are the best, and James Lindsay is a huge tool.
Dude, I can go toe to toe with anybody that knows a lot about Kung Fu movies, okay? It's been a while, but it's embedded in my brain. I had to go to a VHS store to get them. That's how long ago I was getting them. And then I would order them offline as well. And yeah, James Lindsay reduces. this teacher has only taught like 12 people. And then imagine if your pupil went, yeah, it's fucking chink stuff, chink shit. You guys wouldn't get it. I get it. It's old school Chinese stuff, dude. It's way over your head. So I understand it. But this is 2 years after graduating, and this is what he's doing. This guy knows all about what he's talking about, okay? He's not a shyster at all. But
I mean, when he's saying he's a massage therapist, I wonder if that means he was doing like qigong and like that kind of like stuff. Interesting, because right, that's there's a sort of woke component to that. Qi is like a special quality, right, that only certain people can access. Sounds a bit Gnostic to me, bro. Right, is all I'm saying. Right?
Let's get scooting.
The other Paul for $2 Australian. James Lindsay, more like gay lispy, grown.
That was so petty.
Okay.
Get scooting.
Right, so continuing on. Bao Shou Hang is a taxing style to practice. It's just a matter of focus and determination. This is not an easy art to start. No, you need to buy a subscription. It's very grown up.
This is how what is he, 30 at this point?
I don't know. We like to describe it as the graduate school of martial arts, right? But he didn't do. Did he do martial arts and other martial arts?
He just goes straight to graduate school. He skips all the basic stuff. Okay, he just goes right to the smart classes.
Yeah, much like his fucking political science, actually. Right? Pain opens a path. Wise man say, pain opens path. The path that led to massage as a vocation started with Lindsay's own suffering after injuring his back in 2002. Right, so it's quite an old injury. For 7 years, back pain was a nearly constant presence in his life. A string of orthopedic doctors, physical therapists, and chiropractors could not provide lasting relief. The doctors couldn't really do much. They'd prescribe painkillers. It turns out that martial arts is how I met the guy who started me fixing my back. Now, people may be aware that this was around the period in America where they started like basically prescribing oxycodone for like literally anything.
Yeah.
Right? Stub your toe, here's a 3-week supply of oxycodone. So, that could be potentially rough. I don't want to cast shade at anyone who had to fucking deal with getting off pills. While practicing in a local park, Lindsay struck up a conversation with an interested passerby and began showing him some of the basics of Bag Shou Huang.
Oh, hello.
The man decided to return the courtesy by offering his own help. He could immediately see that my back hurt because of the way I held myself, Lindsay said. He saw that I was giving him something for free, so he put me on a picnic table down in Sandy Springs, jammed his thumbs into his muscles. Right.
Okay.
Thumbs into his muscles. Right. And I got off the picnic table.
His thumbs, plugged up both of my holes. Jammed his thumbs.
With the guidance of a book recommended by his new friend, Lindsay applied the knowledge provided by the hands-on treatment and found lasting.
We need to get
relief.
Scootin', dude. We have too much to cover. So this.
Okay. Right. So. Right. Okay.
2010 graduates. 2012 is a male lesbian, so to speak, with martial arts.
Right. So then we have this in this is 2021. Why have I got this article? Am I on the wrong page? This is him talking about the Baptist church. Oh yes, right. So the reason why this is here, right? I'm not retarded, right? I absolutely refute that. Is Lindsay's first book? Right?
Yes.
Before he became known for the grievance studies affair, Lindsay was quite the fedora tipper, right? If you are old enough to remember the new atheism movement, milady, right? Where sort of hard, like the most cringe version of hard materialism, right? Basically sort of like took over the YouTube discourse. This is when you had like retards like Sam Harris and fucking who else was in like new atheism? There's a bunch of fucking people being like, actually we don't really, Steven Pinker, we don't really need religion, bros, right?
Worked on me. I was like, these guys know what they're talking about. Wow.
Yeah. Well, how did that work out, right?
Awful.
But
I regret it.
we don't need God, right? Why would society need God, right? 10 years later, like, would you like to revise your position somewhat? Right.
It's from his 2016 book.
So Lindsay basically went hard into sort of hard materialism, and he wrote this book called Everybody is Wrong About God, which honestly I think he should have like titled Everybody But Me is Wrong About God, right? Now, you know, as the academics would say, we have to situate this work in the time and the culture in which it was produced.
Yeah. You good? You glocking on your own snackies right now? You snacking on? There you go. Hello? Hold on, you're roboting. You are a robot-y boy. You may
Right.
want
Still
to...
hear me?
Hello? Yeah. Okay, now you're good. Go
Right.
ahead.
Yep. Okay. Sorry. My machine is reaching the end of its lifetime. So Lindsay's basic premise on this book, right, is that you should not be arguing with people who still believe in God, right? That's been decided, bros, right? We have decided that God doesn't exist, right? And arguing with the religious, right, just really sort of confirms their delusion, right? What we really need, bros, is instead to find out why these poor, unfortunate, retarded souls need such a fiction in their lives, bros.
That's
Why
the
do they
issue.
feel the need to make up a purely imaginary, magical
I'm sorry, are you
spy
talking
gadget?
about Marx or James Lindsay right now? I'm confused. You're blurring the lines right now.
Right? It is honestly like just the most cringe new atheism shit, right? Like, you know, and Lindsay comes to the conclusion. Oh, wait, we got another sip chat. Do you want to read this one?
I am a fan of Genghis Khan, but Pol Pot? Why not? Why not?
Why not? Pol Pot, why not? So he's basically sort of saying, right, that, you know, if we can identify the emotional needs that religion satisfies in people, right, we could wait for them to inevitably deconvert, right, as we progress towards post-theism, right, the perfect society, right, where nobody believes in God, right? Now, I do actually have a couple of pages of his thing here. This is sort of what he talks about how to achieve the post-theistic society, right? Yeah, how's that fucking working out for you all? Oh yeah,
Well,
men can be women.
I can do it. I can do it. But just because I can do something doesn't mean that's good for the rest of society. And I mean, this is just a material fact. Even as an atheist materialist such as myself, I can look at society and go, oh, well, Christianity built the West and literally is responsible for our laws. So it makes sense.
No, but you're not a hard materialist because you believe in evil, in transcendental evil, right? So you're halfway there.
Well, I believe in evil as like the worst things a human can do. I don't know if it's... Yeah, I mean, I say evil and I say Satan because people know what I mean. It's this is the worst that humanity has to offer. I don't trust Western psychology a lot, but they've grouped them into certain personality types, and cluster B seems to really associate closely with it. But I'm just, at this point, I'm very acutely aware of certain behaviors, and I can see them very early on. And I go, this is a terminal case if this person doesn't turn this around. And what's dangerous is when someone's unaware. That's a lot of evil, is that someone's unaware that they're about to hurt so many people.
Oh, look, man, we just have to identify, right, like what emotional needs your materialism is serving, right? And then wait for you to inevitably change yourself, right? Because that's, you know, that's how that works, right? And it's not in any way patronizing or anything, right? To suggest that your deeply held beliefs, right, are basically just because you're retarded, which is essentially what Lindsay is basically saying here, right? Okay, so first, our societies have to work hard to become politically and economically stable enough to obviate many of the more desperate turns towards religion. And we need to encourage this kind of change in other societies via ethical political means. Yeah, phone up the fucking CIA, right? See, we only use ethical political means, right? To like discover, to like force you, encourage you to abandon your religion. Oh, fuck me. This really gets me going, this shit, right? Honestly, right? Functional modern governments should exist to do everything in their power to secure the lives and rights of their citizens. And those citizens, especially in democracies, have a civic duty to understand their role in making such systems functional, which includes understanding how functional modern governments can and usually do work for the people they represent. Yeah, not in England, they don't. Right?
Well, that's the
No,
thing.
they don't.
Like, the people he's calling woke right also believe that the government should be working for the people. Like this is this is baby's first political fucking idea. But we gotta get scooting, dude. We're an hour in.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yep.
Also crucial here is the effort of breaking all lingering grip of religion on our political process. Now, this is the sort of like crucial point, right? That I wanted to get to, right? Lindsay acknowledges that there are still retards who believe in religion, right? And they affect the political process, right? And I think that basically he has said, well, given that these stupid religious people exist, right? How can we manipulate religious language and religious thought, right, in order to get them to conform to the most rational agenda ever, right? Because of course he knows this. You know, he is the fedora tipping atheist, right? And I think this is why he is always fucking talking like he's a Christian, even though he isn't, and annoying the shit out of actual Christians, right? He just says that that's how you manipulate Christians, because fundamentally he believes, in my opinion, religion is just this manipulative social structure. He's a Bene Gesserit, basically, right?
Okay.
Further, we have to wean ourselves off the pointless and boring arguments, many of which are over philosophical topics or morals. So these no longer characterize the debate over religion, right?
Let's just remove let's stop debating morality, okay?
Yeah. And then he basically goes on to say, like, you know, all religions are basically the same. They're just like different ways of ordering society, because he's a Bene Gesserit, right?
Yes.
Open secularism. We should have therapists and counselors trained to specialize in the challenges associated with leaving behind one's religious beliefs. And we should have lots of them. You're just swapping one religion for a much worse one. Right? How did that work out in the French Revolution, James?
It's a
right?
religion for the self.
we're gonna have a secular religion, right? And then there's no fucking like guardrail. Oh, this is so fucking Marxist. My fucking God. Like, but for real, right?
Right?
People leaving their faith traditions are having to completely reconstruct much of the way in which they understand the world, including their own identities. And this is likely to be a difficult process. Trained professionals can facilitate the change via online resources, direct counseling, and when needed, outreach hotlines. Are you fucking kidding me?
Actually, should we cut to him just less than a month ago talking about what a real American is?
Yes. Wait, where is that?
So this is from his book in 2016. Okay. Now James Lindsay releases a clip from his event, from his private little conference from a couple of weeks ago. It looks cutely attended. It looks like there's some people there. And
oh yeah, that's actually loaded up next. As a matter of fact.
Yeah, we gotta cover some ground.
Oh, did I accidentally close the window? No, right, here we go. Wait. Just let me make sure like I finish this thing on his book. Therapeutic intervention. This is not a call to train and employ therapists with the task of deconverting believers. Oh, yeah, really? It fucking sounds like it. Instead, it's merely a recognition that people undergoing these psychological and social struggles associated with undergoing a deconversion could benefit from specially trained help. He basically thinks it is inevitable, right, that everyone, right, will become an atheist and lose his faith. Okay? So, right. Okay. Right. I'm done. Right. Sorry. That just... I just found that particularly triggering. I was just like, oh my God, right? Like, so this is from his recent conference in Dallas.
Heavily
the
attended.
lovely Dallas Fort Worth Airport Hilton, where you can bask in the beautiful views
And you
of
can pay
Dallas
him
Fort Worth Airport.
$6,000. You can pay him $6,000 to sponsor the event, so which I find incredible. That there's 50 people there.
Let's hear what he has to say, right? And note the extreme amount of religious language he uses, but he never mentions God. Not fucking once.
What is an American?
Full screen it.
An American is a citizen of the United States of America. Spiritually, an American also holds the foundational American belief that self-government is possible and opens the door to greater prosperity for each of us. It doesn't guarantee it, it opens the door to it. An American, therefore, has faith in the American dream, thus articulated, and keeps his or her end of the covenant that it entails.
The covenant!
And that makes it more...
A covenant is a very religious way to frame this. And this is the problem, right? You cannot describe the foundation of America without referencing God. You just can't, right? Like it's in the fucking Declaration, it's in the Constitution, right? And James is trying to like do this sort of, Indiana Jones trick where he replaces God with liberty, right? But that's not
right.
Right? It's not like,
I love the idea that when you talk to the typical American, they're like, yeah, it's a covenant, definitely. I would use the word covenant if you talk to the typical American about what being an American is.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No one says that shit.
And I mean, the other thing as well, right? Self-governance. What is this self, right? If you import like 1 million Somalians into America, right, and they take over your government, is that still self-government? I mean,
he won't answer. He refuses to fucking answer.
They're technically Americans. They've got American passports, right? If they took over the entire American government, would it still be self-government, right? Or does self-government imply a homogenous ethnic and religious society? I don't know. Sounds a bit woke, right? I know. I think we got another super chat as well. Yes, we do. The Flying Scudman for $10. Crikey, $10.
Jesus.
Keep following the Mooish trail.
Yep.
Can't stress enough, to be fair, the importance of Dr. Kevin MacDonald's trilogy, People Who Shall Dwell Alone, Separation and Its Discontents, and the Culture of Critique. I did
Interesting.
get, I did get about a quarter through the Culture of Critique. It's very, very interesting. It's talking about just the Jewish tendency for critiquing stuff, right? Which is, is just sort of like, it is like just sort of this thing they do. They just like love to critique shit. Thank you very much for that.
I don't know of another people that try to cheat God so often by putting a fucking fishing lure around New York City. So there's probably something there to be explored in depth.
It's not cheating if they do it, mate. You just don't understand, right?
It's the hole in the sheet.
You just have a very Christian conception of God, clearly, right? Okay, right. Let's keep going.
More than a dream. It makes it a promise. And he uses his American liberty to pursue the dream and the blessings of liberty that are held out in promise for the faithful and responsible citizens who will sacrifice to obtain them. Your participation is necessary. Faith without works is dead. You can't believe in the American dream and get rich.
Faith without works is dead. That is a religious statement. That is ripped straight from Christianity. The question of whether faith alone is enough or whether you must do good works. This is all very Christian language, except he's just stripped out God, right? And instead, it's liberty, right? We must sacrifice. He's trying to pull a fucking French Revolution shit here. Oh, we'll have a secular religion since, you know, we were unable to extinguish it or it wouldn't die on its own. Big time for $5. So Lindsay believes in magic dirt, except for the moose. Yeah, basically, yes.
That's
right.
Yep.
Like,
yep, through and through. And we're going to try and find how he came to this conclusion, which is why I want us to try and keep scooting along, cover some ground. Because I know this guy stays up late for the stream, Mr. Fist, and I really appreciate it. So I try to cover a lot of ground before it starts getting late.
Okay, we got a lot of stuff to go. I'll just let this play.
Yeah.
You've got to work for it too. An American is a classical liberal in all the regards presented here, who will fight and die if necessary to protect his God-given right to hold this faith in liberty, to keep this covenant and pursue this dream, the dream of the promised returns of the blessings of liberty, his just deserts, equity in the biblical sense, and to do so against any post-liberal interference from left or right. Thus, the Americans are the citizens of the greatest, freest, most prosperous, and most righteous nation that has ever existed on the earth. What is an American?
Except is, I mean,
dude, it's pathetic. How does a classic liberal fight? How does a classic liberal fight? What do any of them do? They all tell you to not engage, not do anything. They don't fucking debate. In fact, there's a fucking post where one of them is like, it's Paul Galato or something like, oh, dude, also I had an idea. We have to do a tier list of insufferable James Lindsay orbiters, okay? Got like 15 of them.
Yeah, we should cover the orbiters on another.
One of them, Paul Galato or something like that, is like, you know, I waited a few days and, you know, just to really let it sink in. And I realized that we need to like do something. We need to like make like an organization. It's 2025 and you're just having that thought. After days of taking in what James Lindsay said, it's like, yeah, you realize he's a man of inaction. Yeah, you went and traveled there, and you spent your resources to go and fucking stare at him and fucking sniff his beard, and then you're like, what else could I have done with that money? We should all get together and really do something about this. It leads nowhere. It's a cult of inaction. He wants you to wait patiently to be slaughtered. That's what the cult is. Mr. Feast.
I mean, how would they wield power? Right? Like if they actually got into power, right?
He's afraid of power, dude.
Any exercise of power, right? Any exercise of power would be either woke left or woke right. I mean,
that's why I'm saying he can't. It's the same reason why Hassan Piker can't like own a business. His philosophy won't allow him to do it. He has to just stay on Twitch and go, I'm not in charge of anything. He knows they're coming for his head as soon as he fucking has his own business. It's like with him, as soon as he has power, then he's going to be on the chopping block.
Fuck, mate. Lenin would eat these people alive.
It's Marxism.
I swear to fucking God. Oh my fucking God, dude.
Americans are a faithful people with regard to the blessings of liberty. But we recognize that it is a covenant that we must uphold and participate in. So we are responsible and we are practical. And just as we see in the Old Testament book of Numbers, when we wander in the desert and things are not going so well, and we have been given miracle after miracle from the blessings of liberty so far, and we doubt and lose our faith and wish to go back to the slavery and captivity of Egypt so we can have our cucumbers.
What the fuck?
Then we also forfeit those blessings of liberty and shall not be permitted to enter into the promised land. It is not.
Oh, for fuck's sake! It's an
atheist sermon. It's an atheist sermon.
It's an atheist sermon, right? And the bit of the Bible, of course, he's quoting is the Old Testament, right? Like, you know. Oh, we got a super chat.
Yep.
$5 from the other Paul. What happened to the original Paul? Oh my God. There is no constitution but one, and Voltaire is his prophet. Yeah, precisely. Oh, or behold, the new secular religion, right? Faith in liberty.
But so what I want to show you with this is that James Lindsay from 2016 is very similar in very specific regards. He wants to do the same thing the Marxists do and try and be like, I'm not a Christian, but here's how you're not living up to your standards. Bullshit that they love to fucking do. And he's trying to demoralize them into interpreting the Bible how he has no qualifications to say what he's fucking talking about. None.
It's totally subversive, right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, aren't these the same people that are like, oh, subversion is like a left-wing thing? This is subversive as hell, man. Right? Like, oh my god.
Okay.
Right, okay, we got about another 30 seconds of this,
Yep.
right? And then we can move on.
For us, if we are faithless, and if we are actionless, and if we are irresponsible, Americans are people who understand this and live this. This is my call back to faith in America. Thank you.
Back to faith in America. His call back to faith in America, based on what? What are they supposed to do? It's all platitudes. It's like listening to a fucking Marxist speak.
I'd love to see him fucking go to downtown Memphis and try and like, yeah, you're an American. Yeah, so what? I want to talk to you about faith in liberty. Give me your wallet, motherfucker.
I know, but you make him sound like a Hare Krishna right now. Have you heard of our faith in our Jesus Lord Liberty?
Yep. A couple more super chats. 20 Norwegian kroner. Oh, Jesus Christ. Thank you from Arakreen.
Jesus, he's giving me a fucking krona with that one.
Oh, kroner. I'm getting a bit of a kroner sitting here. So this is the new Scientology.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's liberty to do what? That, like, this is the criticism of liberalism. It's like, it's without Christianity, you are worshiping the self. I want to do, like, freedom without restraint is slavery. You're a slave to your own hedonism. You're a slave to your own impulses. Like, freedom without responsibility, or freedom without guidance, or freedom without direction, freedom for the sake of freedom is what leads people toward Satan and the devil and the self and whatever feels good and doing good. Just like, he doesn't counter that with anything. It's liberty. And it's like, well, you better have some guardrails for what the fuck you're talking about, because isn't the whole trans thing, the whole queer thing, didn't they leverage your classical liberal concept of liberty to harm all these kids? And then you're going to post hoc act like, oh, that really sucks that they're doing that. Let me step in and like, well, it's because of this thought of liberty that they're allowed to do it. He never defines liberty, and that's dangerous and that's malicious. How undefined.
Well, this would actually lead towards like a centrist totalitarianism.
Actually, keep saying
right?
that. I'm starting to see it the more that we watch it.
Because he would have to define liberty very rigidly, right? Mm-hmm. Liberty means you can't do this. Liberty means you can't do that. I mean, this is shades of Rousseau, right? We will force you to be free, right? Like, dude, this is so. $2 from Big Time. Oh, it is a big time. Thank you very much, mate. What are Lindsay's thoughts on the Talmud? He never mentions it.
He'll never fucking answer it. And I mean, this is what I'm saying though. James Lindsay says something, doesn't give me anything else. I'm making a video on James Lindsay and I go, let me do the world's most cursory search. Oh my God, he's fucking wrong. Like, which made me moo critical, is James Lindsay, because he just raises a question and lets me sit with it. And I go, okay, well, I'm going to go research it now since you didn't finish the rest of that.
I mean, that was literally the same thing with me, right? So I first started studying the Moos, right? After I was listening to James talk about Adorno and Marcuse, right? And then he went on this arc where he started describing Hermeticism, right? And I was like, you know, what is this Hermeticism, right? Now to hear James talk about it, right? It had nothing to do with Judaism at all. This is
the lengths that he went to avoid Judaism. He's like Hermeticism, right? He's like fucking Gnosticism in like 7 BC. He's just trying to navigate throughout history around it.
Yep. And then I started studying like Kabbalah and Jewish history, and you know, like so.
I noticed a deviation with some Lindsayites who aren't Lindsayites anymore. Around maybe the beginning of 2024, when he started losing it, started researching the Kabbalah, researching associations, So that was a natural, but that's what I'm saying. That's what he does. He leads you to that conclusion by not having any rebuttal to it.
And this is the thing, right? Like I really thought at the time that he would, address this, right, and put it in the best possible light, and just like be like, oh yes, there's significant Jewish influence in things like Hermeticism and stuff, right? But let's not go over. He just failed to address it at all. He just completely blanked, right? And then you have people like Hagelborg. Shout out Hagelborg if you're like listening to this, who did like tons of work, on Kabbalah, and yeah, that's right. So now we get on to
TDS,
the grievance.
So no, real quick, TDS 2016, Joe Rogan, just to show that by his own admission, by James Lindsay's own words, in 2016, when he wrote that book, what Fisk just said, the entire time, James Lindsay had TDS 2016, 2017. Okay? Do you have that clip?
Yep. I've got it.
Pull it up.
Right here. Okay. Right.
Totally dead wrong about that. I had TDS. I had straight up. I was like on the floor, like
Trump derangement syndrome.
That's right. I thought Trump was the end of the world.
This is 2016?
16, 17, yeah.
When did you guys come on the podcast with...
Totally dead wrong about that.
I
had
think
TDS.
that in 2018,
I had straight up. I was like on the floor. Like
Trump derangement.
Do we think that in 2018 that just magically went away if he had it so hard writhing around on the ground? So he still has TDS as he's coming up with the anti-communism stuff. He's still a foaming leftist. Now, usually when you hear leftist, you think anti-capitalist. Fellas, you have to be right-wing. This is what happens when you're anti-communist and you're still centrist left. You're still afraid of racism and afraid of anti-Semitism. To be right-wing in the most broad sense means you allow yourself to experience the elevated consciousness of going, racism is just anti-white, anti-Semitism is just anti-white. The Black Hebrew Israelites don't lose their jobs when they're being anti-Semitic. It's just meant to control white people. That's what being right-wing is. That is the baseline. Anything outside of that, we can talk about it. But this is the line in the sand, because he's heralded as this great intellectual, and he did great work with anti-communism. But the issue is that he wasn't right-wing. He still has guilt. He's still afraid of being called a racist or being called an anti-Semite. He doesn't understand all these Hitler memes and stuff, which is to say, fuck you, call me whatever you want. I don't give a shit. You don't control me anymore. So I really want to paint this in the light that he has fucking ferocious TDS while he's coming. And the TDS went away, but he never found his balls to be a man.
Well, I mean, there's that clip we found about that dude on Matt Gates' show.
God,
what's his
so
name?
many
Villa
fucking clips. They're all fucking important.
So many. Anyway, this guy's basically saying that, in his opinion, right, James wanted to be part of the Trump administration, presumably so he could guide it and make sure it didn't get too right wing, right? And then got really butthurt when the administration was like, yeah, we don't want you, because he wasn't a Christian, and he was going around telling Christians, oh, you're a real Christian, oh, you're not a real Christian. Christians don't he wouldn't do it with the Jews. Imagine if he was going around being like, oh, I'm not a Jew, right? But you're a real Jew and you're not a real Jew. You can imagine. You get disappeared.
You got
They find him in the tunnels under fucking New York.
in the chat, bro. Benjamin, you're coming up, buddy. Ben's coming up
Ben?
in a clip.
Good to see you. He's like, James basically called me a cult member or a basket case last week. Yeah, Ben, I was wondering how long it would take for that to, because you did that interview with AA, right? And for some reason, AA has a cult now or something. Well, I hear it's quite the social, calendar sort of season. But he didn't reference you interviewing, obviously. Because you interviewed him, you're bad. Speaking of interviewing, by the way, I'd love to talk to you, Ben, about your journey from Evergreen to where you are now. Fucking DM me on Twitter, man. I'll DM you. It'd be great to chat to you. Anyway, so where are we going to?
Benjamin Boyce had James Lindsay on a podcast. They've done dozens and dozens of hours of content together. Even as early as I think maybe 2 years ago. February, beginning of 2023, Benjamin Boyce hosted a debate between Sargon, Carl Benjamin, and James Lindsay. So something changed. We'll get to it. We're definitely going to get to it. So he has TDS. So now if you want to show the, we could just go to Michael O'Fallon if you want, the 2019.
Okay. Right, Michael O'Fallon,
The
2019.
8-minute.
Which one's that? Oh
I
my god,
know.
I've got so many tabs open, mate.
This is
my
5%
brain is,
of the
like,
stuff that we
starting to, like,
researched.
melt
It's going to
down.
be a clip that's downloaded to your computer. It's not in a tab. Maybe.
Okay, right. So we've got the grievance studies thing, Michael Nania's thing. I guess we'll skip that. Right, yeah,
This
the Michael
very
O'Fallon thing.
important.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've got it.
Okay.
I've got it. Right. Okay. It's 9 minutes. Are we going to do like the whole 9 minutes?
So this is important because James Lindsay knows what it's like to be on the receiving end of media manipulation, as he says, and the person who owns his website, New Discourses, Michael O'Fallon, in 2019, he was calling him he thought he was a white nationalist, and he also carried that to the end of 2019. So he has TDS in 2016, 2017. He's still calling this guy who he ends up working with, Michael O'Fallon, sovereign nations. All of a sudden, James Lindsay doesn't know what the word fucking sovereign means, even though he fucking works with the guy in charge of sovereign nations. But yeah, just play some of this clip. I think it's really important.
Sovereign is he who decides upon the state of exception. Oh my god! Woke right in the hisome. I can't believe it. Oh, I need to be purged. I need to be deprogrammed.
New
Right,
Discourses,
okay,
which is owned by Christian nationalist commentator Michael O'Fallon. Let me just dispel some myths here real quick. You guys that are New Discourses followers know this, but Michael O'Fallon does not own New Discourses. We are, with one other person, co-owners of this. For anybody who cares, my share of the company is much larger than his. I own the company. He helps own the company. He registered the domain name on the internet, and so the domain is listed in his name. He owns, technically, I guess, the website domain. Okay. That doesn't mean he owns the company. It's stupid. He is a co-owner, but that's beside the point. The question still is Michael O'Fallon a Christian nationalist? The answer is, of course, no. Pay attention to him for 5 minutes. He's probably one of the leading, if not the leading, certainly the first major voice in kind of evangelical Christian circles to be denouncing the Christian nationalist movement. If you didn't know there's a Christian nationalist movement on the rise right now from kind of the stupidest corner of right-wing evangelicism, you should probably know that. If you can't figure out that that's an obvious trap, I don't know. I actually don't know how to help you, and I'm kind of excited.
So Michael O'Fallon, right, who I believe is like a Southern Baptist, right, is denouncing Christians who want to wield any kind of political power, right? Is what this
however
seems
they
to
position
be, right?
Christian nationalists, but in effect,
Yeah, right. Like I mean, the thing is as well, right? Like, you know, again, it's this sort of thing that, right? Like, you know, you just go from like 1 to 10 immediately, right? If you let the Christian nationalists or anyone who, like, you know, is an actual Christian near power, before you know it, right, you'll have basically the Christian version of Saudi Arabia ruling the entirety of the US. How the fuck would that happen? I remember when he was banging on about this shit before the election, right? I had a friend who's like a Lindsayite, was like sending me all this, Project 2025, right? You know, they're going to like do the Handmaid's Tale. And I was just like, how?
I know.
Like, literally describe to me the political process by which this could be affected,
But
right? Like,
how.
it's like what they're going to overthrow the Constitution, and like what they're going to get the army to support this, right? Like what they're one day they're going to go baptize the entire
This is
US
recorded
army.
in February of 2023. So he's still like blah 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 Christian nationalist, blah blah blah. Still not an issue yet. That doesn't come until later. So still in 2023, this is when he's hitting peak popularity. I think he was banned from Twitter August of 2022, and he may have gotten reinstated when Elon took over, maybe September of 2022. So now he's back on social media. He's back on X for like 5 months, and he is fucking growing his brand. He is fucking killing it with anti-communism. And it's, you know, Trump's not president yet. This is 2023. So this is when we had to hear it. And then I'm like, man, if Trump wins, we can really bury the left. But as we find out, something happened. We'll try and postulate as to what it is, but let's go.
Right, another super chat from Deadpool Kid
yeah,
for
mate.
$5.
Fuck yeah.
Thank you very much. I would love to ask James about Sabbatine Franks who believed in salvation through sin.
He disregards them.
You know,
He's yeah.
He disregards them, right? As far as I know, James has never read Gerhard Scholem, right? Who is like the best Jewish historian there is, right? You want to understand like Jewish history, like after the Spanish expulsion, read Sabbatai Zevi by Scholem. It will break your brain. Like it is a really complicated book, but also like amazing, right? Like I don't think James has ever read any of that shit, right? So you know, and Scholem also did a great book on the Frankists, much better than oh my god, who's that fucking retarded historian? Michael Sefer. He did a book called 1666 that was much less detailed than Scholem, right? Like you know, really subpar. If you look, this stuff is complicated. If you want to understand it, if you want to understand Lurian Kabbalah and all that stuff, you got to do the work, mate. Also, $5 Canadian from Michael Odell. Woo! Seen you call out centrist grifter Clyde do something on X. Feels like woke right bullshit is getting some traction here in Canada. Well, I certainly, mate, I hope you Canada bros are okay. It sounds like Canada is basically going the same way as like, you know, Australia and the UK, and they're just gonna like basically take all your shit.
He says it's getting traction in Canada. Benjamin Netanyahu just mentioned the woke right. Jonathan Greenblatt mentioned the woke right. John Stossel mentioned the woke right. So it's global. Those are people influential enough to carry the woke right thing globally, which we'll get to. We'll postulate.
Yeah, we'll get to that. It's coming. It's coming. Mate, we're not even halfway through.
Go!
God.
To watch you fall off this cliff. The only problem is that, like, literally, like, I'm almost like giddy about seeing you people fall into the Fed net that you're walking into. Like, are you fucking stupid? Christian nationalism, like that's already like a watch term on like the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Justice website for domestic terrorism and right-wing extremism. Are you freaking idiots? And so Peter's like all into this. He calls me this, you know, Christian guy wants to get us there. He wants to pay for everything. It's going to be great. And Peter believed he was going to become this big funder for us and give us all this money, which we've been accused of, which turns out not to be true. Michael was an early investor in creating new discourses, but he didn't fund it. He invested. He got all of his money back. We paid him back. Like, what the hell?
So what do you need funding for? What did Chris Rufo or Billboard Chris need funding for? Like, they didn't have to make a company. It's like, you write articles, you make videos. What do you need funding for? That's the weird part.
Well, this raises another question, right? Supposedly, somebody funded the grievance studies affairs, an anonymous
you're right.
benefactor, right? But James has not revealed who that is. I'm not saying necessarily that's a sinister thing, right? You know, you got to remember at the time this was going on, right? Like, you know, it was the height of lefty cancel shit, right? But, you know, maybe James just needed to be paid, right? You know, because he didn't have another job and it was like, you know, so this is going to be a full-time thing. I don't know.
He was big enough in 2019 to do his own thing. To just, I don't know, release stuff online. And you see new discourses now, and it's just James Lindsay. The first 6 videos on new discourses are Peter Boghossian going out and having conversations, new discourses, and that guy got the fuck out very early.
Yeah. What happened to Peter? He noped out of that thing.
Time around James is what it seems
fast.
like. And we all learn these lessons at different times, apparently, but keep going.
$10 from the Flying Scudman. It's about way more than them critiquing everything. Again, read Dr. McDonald to fully understand the MQ.
The MQ, dude! You fucking kidding me? Took me a fucking second. I love how it's the MQ. We say moo to not say the word, but now we're not even saying the fucking letter.
Highly subversive. Pinovich and Boscovich are doing a read-along behind the paywall at the Forbidden website. I don't know who that is, but thank you very much, Flying Scudsman.
He knows his onions.
Benjamin Boyce says Mike Nanya produced their documentary. Yeah, we actually have a clip from Mike about the grievance study affair where, you know, Jim is jumping up and down and being like, oh my God, they accepted our paper, but we're running over time, so we didn't play it. right? Oh man, like, oh, Ben must be a fascinating source of
Oh
lore
my.
on this.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Let's
Dream
keep
about
going.
his
Like,
dick after.
Everybody thinks that this is like some kind of shady stuff. There's no shade going on here. Like, it's all super above board, normal business stuff. But
Nothing
anyway,
shady.
Peter's all geeked about it. And so I go and I'm like, well, let me look. I don't know about this right-wing Christian, conservative, evangelical conference. Like, we're trying to curate at the time. The Grievance Studies Affair just came out. We're trying to curate our image because we don't want to get shut down and ignored. Like, to go to a far-right evangelical Christian conference at the time we perceived as likely to be extraordinarily bad PR for the left-wing circles. We thought it was crucial. The academic circles, we thought it'd be crucial to take it seriously. The goal was to not have the Grievance Studies Affair be just dismissed as this right-wing propaganda. And so... because it wasn't, but at any rate, so we were super careful. So I go Google Michael O'Fallon. I've never heard of this guy. And I find the Media Matters article calling him a Christian nationalist. And this is a real point I want to get to. Not only is Michael not
A Media Matters article.
I mean,
in 2019.
Media Matters, right? Media Matters, right? David Brock, right? Probably the most notorious Jewish political mercenary in the American scene, right? Brock will work for anyone if you pay him enough, right? You know, quite famously, right? He used to work for he came up in the Republican Party doing fucking political assassinations for people, and then the Clintons like paid him like a bunch of like money. He flipped over to like them, right? Like, I mean, why? Which begs the question: why were Media Matters doing a hit job on Michael O'Fallon? Right?
Sovereign
I
Nation's
presume-
nationalist, and he's a Christian nationalist. You have to remember, this was at a time, I know Ben remembers this, it's what James is talking about. Anyone was a white supremacist. They were going crazy with that shit in the federal government. That was like the number one thing they were watching out for. Fuck right wing. You fucking tough to be white during that time. So they were fucking spray gunning anyone they could on the right with being a white supremacist, a Christian nationalist, which James Lindsay understands. And so now he just changed it to the woke right. He understands how that shapes people's minds. And it's a malicious tactic that I can't respect.
I mean, I cannot imagine that.
You can't imagine what? What can't you imagine? You fat little bitch. I can't hear you. You
Fucking, am I back? Right. Like,
dickhole.
Restream just did that thing.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that Media Matters works for free, right? Like, I just, like, you know, they are such a mercenary outfit, right? Like, I don't know.
But that
right?
tricked
So, you know,
James Lindsay, okay? That tricked him. They said it, and he went, oh, okay, then you said it. Then it must be true. In 2019, okay? We're still pretty TDS-y, I would say.
that implies a lack of political discernment. I'm just
absolutely.
saying, right? Okay.
a Christian nationalist. This is why this Christian nationalist thing is so stupid. Now, remember, left-leaning, but I've already done the Grievance Studies Affair, so I'm somewhat red-pilling, but I haven't red-pilled for sure yet. Not even close. Not even close. But I'm red-pilling, but I'm a center-left academic who's involved in kind of culture war space, right? And I read on the Media Matters saying that Michael O'Fallon is a Christian nationalist. And what did my brain do? Well, I called Peter back immediately. I said, Peter, we cannot do this. We cannot work with this guy. We absolutely cannot work with Michael O'Fallon. Do you know why? He's a white nationalist. Did you hear what my brain did? My brain read Christian nationalist and it transformed it into white nationalist.
Pause it.
I was utterly convinced.
What do you think happens in a person's mind when they hear woke right?
Yeah.
And it's even more amorphous. They hear Nazi. What else would they think? They just think the most extreme right thing possible because the woke left are communists. So then the woke right was fascist. So it's a pussy way of putting this idea in people's heads without having to take accountability for these fucking accusations. And that's why people are mad at you, James. That's why they're frustrated with you. There's legitimate criticisms against you. That's what's frustrating is because you're being shifty like a leftist and they try to back you into a corner and you just change what words mean. And it's getting in the way of a cohesive right-wing identity. You're fucking with people who need an identity right now is people on the right wing, okay? Countries are getting invaded. Let them think and decide what they want to do instead of you trying to poison the well constantly.
And the other thing as well, right, is to admit, right, that he was gulled by such a simple trick, right? And yet to be 100% sure that every single person that he deems woke right is in fact woke right.
Just over a year later, he starts pushing the woke right shit, maybe less than a year and a half later. He's pushing the woke right shit after saying this.
You would think, right, that he would be sort of more, what's the word I'm looking for? Right, like, you know, like after this thing with O'Fallon, right, and thinking that he was an extremist and then becoming his friend, perhaps he would be a little bit more resistant to like labeling other people as extremists, but apparently not. Do we keep going with this, or?
Yeah, a little, yeah.
Okay.
The Media Matters article that, and I think I went this far as to say, the dude's a Nazi. Michael's not a Nazi. This is ridiculous. But this is why I'm bringing this up. First of all, how did I meet Michael O'Fallon? Now you know how I met Michael O'Fallon. So I'll finish the story of meeting him, but then this is why I bring it up. I bring it up because my left-leaning centrist brain translated Christian nationalist into white nationalist immediately. Like it was this, like they're synonyms. Because for left-leaning center people, they're synonyms. They've been ingrained for a long time, maybe decades, into believing Christian nationalism is a euphemism for white nationalism, which is exactly what the so-called extremist stuff is targeting with the Department of Justice, the state of Washington, the Department of Homeland Security, the military, white nationalist organizations, white nationalist extremism, etc. It doesn't matter what the reality is. Do not understand this. The overwhelming reflexive attitude in the public when they hear Christian nationalism, if they are center, if they're low information, which they are, and you are not going to easily change that, and if they especially lean left, is they're going to hear Christian nationalist and transform it into white nationalist or associate it with white nationalist immediately. I did that to Michael. Michael ends up overcoming it because he calls me after we refused to go to the conference. Peter very upset with me and over dropping this opportunity. And he talks to us on the phone a couple times. Peter's so geeked. And he finally, Michael says, you know, we're on our way up to CPAC. I'm like, gross. And hilarious because I go the next year with him. But anyway, which CPAC, freaking really the most controlled opposition bullshit ever. Remember how last year the thing was Awake Not Woke, and then like I got recommended to be a speaker like by 10 different people that are like on the speaker committee, and then I didn't speak, even though like Awake Not Woke is literally my brand. I'm like literally the guy, and I was literally physically there, but I didn't invite to speak.
Triple shot with the literalies. He speaks like a teenage girl. So he has that aspect there. Yeah.
Ben posted something quite interesting. James has become postmodernist. Everything is subjective assertion, constantly defining and redefining terms to align with his will to power / correctness. Yeah.
Well, that's.
I mean, you can see this basically happening in real time in this clip. You know what I mean, right? Like.
Yeah. Well, my main criticism has been there's no truth factor in what he's saying. He's just saying he unironically views everything through a dialectical lens. He's not saying. He used to be saying, this is how Marxists view reality. He is now viewing reality that way, and he assumes since this is happening on the left, it must be happening on the right. That's purely ideological. That's not how reality works. The right might have elements of something. There's no gray to him. It's black and white. He's splitting. So now he's unironically viewing everything through a dialectical lens. And so there's no truth value to what he's saying. He's just saying these are their grievances. And it's like, oh, well, okay, let's entertain them for a second. On the left, they're lying about their fucking grievances. Okay, hey, what's the opposite? On the right, the fucking grievances are legitimate. Look, this is why he just ate his balls on fucking people flooding into the UK, and he doesn't give a fuck about what's happening to them. It's completely ideological to him, and he doesn't understand this fucking childlike autism that people are like, oh, dude, that really doesn't sit well with us at all. And he's like, oh, fucking fuck you, dude. It's age regression. He's age regression.
After spending so much time, right, documenting shit like CRT, right, and documenting like, you know, actual, you know, sort of discrimination against whites in all of these like places, right? All of a sudden, oh no, that's not real, right? Like, you know, if you want to do anything about it, right? Oh, that's work, right? You know, I was like, fuck off, man. My God. We keep going with this?
Yep.
Why? Because CPAC is controlled opposition. Fake. But anyway, I have positive feelings about CPAC. But anyway, Michael said he's going to CPAC. They're going to pass through East Tennessee on their way up, and asked if I would be so kind as to go out to dinner with them, if they could take me out to dinner. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, whatever. You're in town. You're coming through town. I don't have to do anything. You're going to buy me dinner. All I have to do is like drive to a restaurant and back. Okay, I'm in. And so I went and I met them and I talked to them, and they were nothing like the perception I had created in my head based on reinterpreting these lies through the narrative filter that had been installed in me for years.
Right.
And then over the course of months, I still didn't trust him. Over the course of months.
But that was the only time that happened, right?
here's the thing.
After that one time, right? That would never happen again. I would definitely not be doing that with a whole other group of people and massively misinterpreting their motivations or anything. Oh no.
He's doing this. He calls Tucker Carlson woke, right? And Brett Weinstein is like, okay, well, I've talked to him and he's not doing what you're saying and he didn't treat me that way at all. And then he says this about Carl Benjamin. And then I go and watch Carl Benjamin and I go, oh, he's making really good points because he's being pragmatic. I swear to God, he hates anyone that's being pragmatic. And about like, we're pretty fucked right now. We really don't have any thoughts, ideologies, or anything if we lose. So we really need to start thinking about winning. And he can't hear that because it actually involves action and going to do something, which is why his movement is a cultists of doing nothing. That's their thing.
Well,
what perspectives do they have?
I'm not so sure. Actually, I think that as I was saying before, if they gained power, right? If we had a Lindsayite government with American characteristics, let's say, right? The birth of Lindsayism, I think it would be actually highly totalitarian, right? Like, they clearly do want to wield power, right? Cancel the left, cancel the right, fucking rigidly define the edges of political discourse. I could see this going like mad wrong, honestly, right? But he's not getting access to power, so maybe it's just like, oh well, I didn't want power anyway, right? Well, then why was he sucking up to the Trump administration so much?
No notoriety because right now he's saying this in 2023. He's on top of the world. 2024 hits, and boy, oh boy, does he start fucking tanking to the ground. So let's crawl there quickly. Here we go.
Right, but he did have power. Remember, he popularized the groomer thing, right? That like had a massively negative effect on the trannies, right?
Had like so wrapped around his finger. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's power. Exactly.
They finally win my trust. I tentatively agreed to do the rooftop videos in July. We did those. Those were obviously a big deal, the so-called Trojan Horse series. I was embarrassed to share them because I didn't want people to know. I was trying to keep it all on the down low because I hadn't quite decided. It took me literally till the end of 2019. A whole year of getting to know Michael before I got over that association. Some enormous portion of Americans already believe that Christian nationalism and white nationalism are synonyms. That white nationalism is, because this is what the official sources say, the largest repository of right-wing domestic terror and extremism in the country, and that the Department of Homeland Security, the military, the Department of Justice, etc., have already taken explicit steps to investigate and get to crack down on this, saying even with Antifa ravaging cities, it's the biggest problem, the biggest extremism problem in our country. Our country is literally being taken over from within by communism.
There we go.
And by corporate communism at that.
Yep.
State corporatism or whatever we're supposed to call it.
I like this guy in 2013. Yes.
Public-private partnership.
Keep
likewise. Right.
Yep. Like I was a fan of this guy in 20. Yep. We'll pinpoint where it went wrong. Keep going.
Yep.
Stakeholder capitalism. It's neo-communism. It's literally being overtaken by extremists who will destroy this country from within. And yet we have cities being burned even this month because of Antifa, and they won't name that even as an organization that exists. It's an idea, remember? But white nationalism is the biggest seat of biggest domestic terror threat in the country, and the Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, and military are not only believing.
I love how he like completely just says, right? The government is co-opted. They won't even name Antifa. Right?
Yes.
But then turns around and says, oh, everything the government says about white nationalism must be objectively correct. Like, what the hell, man?
That's the switch. So right here, I'm like, yeah, cool. So what do we do about this? And then I'm getting pushed more. He's pushing people more right wing by saying this. It's like, they're making up that there's this resurgence of white nationalism, whatever you want to call it, to suppress white people. And we're ignoring the violence in the streets. This is why I say they want you afraid of what right-wingers say to ignore what the violence the left wing enacts. I got that from James Lindsay. I get a lot of things, conclusions, not things he said, but he's helped me come to conclusions about a lot of things that I still say to this very day, because I thought we were both on the same page. I thought we were like, fuck the left shit. And he just neuters the right. So this will finish off right now. Just play the rest of it.
Right.
doing this, but acting as though they believe this, acting on it.
Right.
So
Okay,
he's
we're done.
weaponizing. He knows this weapon of trying to talk about right-wing extremism. It's in the government. This is their top priority. It's completely overblown. So he has to be doing this maliciously. Because this isn't fucking from 2016 or anything. He said this 2.5 years ago. So a reason why people feel the way they do about him, and the reason why it's important to talk about James Lindsay, is because he's constantly shoving his nose into getting in the way of developing a cohesive right wing, a cohesive international right wing. An international right wing is, I want Carl Benjamin to take care of his shit in the UK, and he wants me to take care of my shit in the United States. He has a country, I have a fucking country. That's an international right wing.
I actually think he's helping, to be honest.
He is helping.
He is
Franklin's razor.
By making such a retarded defense of liberalism, right? And just, exposing like just the insane exceptions and contradictions in his arguments. He is actually, strengthening the right wing. I'm sure that's not his intention, but
how are you a liberal?
Is what he's doing.
You don't debate. All liberals have is the marketplace of ideas and debating. Like fucking Christopher Hitchens. Like these atheist debaters. And like, he has nothing. None of his followers, none of them debate. He can't even play a video of what Carl Benjamin says and comment on it. Yet he has this company of new discourses where he doesn't even take a fucking video of himself. He's just recording audio of himself. What do you need this whole fucking thing for? Anyways, so now we can move on to when he talked to Benjamin Button himself, okay?
Okay.
I think this was February of 2020.
Let me find out when's the date.
Late
February 2020. Yeah.
Mind you, James Lindsay was still iffy about Michael O'Fallon at the end of 2019. And now the domain for New Discourses was purchased in July of 2019 by Michael O'Fallon. So Michael O'Fallon purchases the New Discourses domain in 2019, July of 2019. Yep. James Lindsay, for 4 or 5 months, is still like, I don't quite trust this guy because I'm such a demoralized fucking pussy and can't think for myself. So he's still like, I don't know, but he's still working with them. But he's like, I kind of want to hide it. And then so he talks to
So what if people think I'm right wing? Oh my god.
Going into 2020. So he's talking to Benjamin Boyce, still probably pretty iffy about. He's just got over his saucy feelings about Michael O'Fallon. And so now he's talking about the progenation of New Discourses with Ben Boyce.
Okay, hang on, we got another super chat.
Yep.
From the Flying Cudsman for $5. All right, one more. Thanks very much, mate. For those who missed it, Lindsay himself said he got brain damage in 2011. Severe head trauma, no ER visit. Oh, dude, really? Oh, dude, that's
possibly. I'll look into that. All I need is a scent. All I need is the smoke, and I'll find the fire. I can investigate.
I don't really. Ardent Party for $5 Canadian. Bernie Sanders impression. I am once again begging Newsfist to check his XDMs. Excellent show, fellas. Keep up the great work. Sent meme and
checking out.
Right.
Very shaky. Thank you.
I'll check that out. Thanks very much, Ardent. Okay, right. So we're gonna play a couple of minutes of this.
Yep. And look at the stars in Benjamin's eyes when he's talking to James. They used to be so cute. You can see how excited Ben is, and it's so tragic that James won't talk to him. I mean it. You can tell how excited he is because he went through some fucking bullshit at Evergreen, and he's like, I'm so glad I met someone that wants to talk to me. We hit it off. We have good chemistry, and who can articulate these fucked up, like how we felt about James Lindsay, articulating the fucked up things that we went through. Ben Boyce, like, man, I'm so fortunate that I get to fucking talk to him and just shoot the shit. And like, I don't know, it's tragic that James has turned out this way.
Yeah. Okay. I'll check the X messages. Okay, let's go.
Or wanting to make
production
to make new. No, Not specifically. Like I said, we've kind of been flirting with the idea of building a website, media resource, educational kind of business around the work that we're doing to aggregate the articles, the videos, and so on. And over the course of last year, we did a lot of discussion about what that might look like. And sometime late in the summer, we decided that this thing that you've seen, New Discourses, at newdiscourses.com is the way we're going to go, kind of a media educational site where we're going to provide articles and lots of educational resources and various other, things that people can read either to understand what's going on with critical social justice better, or that they can go put into application, to try to address the problem as it comes up where they are. And eventually, and hopefully even immediately, we can talk also about issues that reach beyond just critical social justice and talk about basically anything that's constraining our discourses, as it were. So the site's called New Discourses. And the idea is that our political conversation's basically screwed. So we want to expand that, and anything that's screwing it, we want to basically be there to shed some light on it.
I have to say, New Discourses sounds rather modernist, just from a naming conventions.
It is, actually. I'm glad that you recognize that. It wasn't totally intentionally modernist. I'm not particularly a modernist in the narrow sense, but I am a big defender of modernity, so I am a modernist.
Okay, so
right.
So this is February 25th, 2020. The oldest videos on the New Discourses YouTube is 6 videos by Peter Boghossian actually going out and talking to people, actually having new discourses, as James Lindsay is saying, to change the conversation. In November 7th of 2019. So months before he's even having this conversation, they're already making content. It seems like Peter was like, okay, well, I'm not afraid to do this. Let's hit it off with New Discourses. And then James Lindsay just subsumed New Discourses pretty much after his conversation with Ben. They posted old clips and stuff like that, but there's no collaborations with Helen Pluckrose, with fucking Peter Boghossian. There's nothing. It's just James Lindsay after that. I don't know what happened. I don't know why he needs this funding when he's just adding shit to a fucking website. Who else is on there? And if somebody is going to contribute, I don't know, it's like it's fucking $10.99, right? Like, it's what is the point of this? It seems like he really wanted to gravitate toward the religious aspect, because that's what he's leveraging now. I can't think of what else it would be. There's no need for this money. There's no sponsors that are paying $6,000 for a fucking conference that less than 100 people fucking attended. And none of them push their sponsorships and say, hey, here's my table here. I'm sponsoring this. It's a very insular group of people. And it's very suspicious. It's
okay,
very
so look, Benjamin is making the point that I made to you earlier, right? There is a lot of content on newdiscourses.com, including that social justice dictionary that was very good. I use that like a lot. I remember when I was at university, like writing stuff, I'd refer to it, right? Which makes the pivot so disappointing, right? Because like, he spends all this time fucking, talking about CRT and all this like stuff. And then all of a sudden, right? Oh, whites don't have any grievances at all, right? Like, what are you talking about? It's woke, right?
I know, but the concerning thing is that New Discourses is recycling content now. You guys know that, right? He's barely making new content for New Discourses, and it's almost entirely stuff from 2022, 2023, 6 months ago. He's recycling content. He's really hitting rock bottom because he's repetitive. He's kind of just saying the same thing in a different way, like a Marxist.
Yeah, or like a band whose best years are behind them. You know what I mean, right? And they just go around, like, go out on stage and play their old hits and like shuffle across the stage, kind of like thing. Oh, we got another super chat, $10 from Total Blackout Painting.
Yes, mate.
Thank you very much, DBP. I'm giving you 10 to tell you not to check your XDMs and make ardent wait. I kid. Peter still puts out content from his street epistemology debates. They're really good.
I couldn't agree more.
quite liked Peter on video. I found that book of his hard going. I got about, I don't know, a quarter into it, and then I was just like, I don't know, maybe I wasn't in the right headspace or something.
Well, I don't read.
Thank you very much, CBP.
So even when I was watching James Lindsay, I always associated way more with Peter Boghossian. Even in the videos I make, I talk about epistemology a lot. How do I know what I know? And I'm way more conversational than I am literary. So I always identify with him more. But we've talked about this privately. A reason why me and you respect Benjamin Boyce is because he was able to snap out of it. He was able to talk to people on the right, on the far right, whatever it is. He wasn't scared of like, oh, well, if I talk to this person, then this. No, he started talking to him. And James Lindsay, I don't know. Ben, when did he stop talking to you? Because, I mean, like fucking 2 years ago he was talking to you. And you were talking to Carl. Ben, when did the shift, when did the switch get flipped? From your perspective, I would love to know. I love having you here because I have to research otherwise. I'm really curious when he fucking pulled a nutty.
Well, I was really surprised because I was on Millennial last year, and I was really surprised to see Ben on Millennial as well. And I was like, God damn, right? Because I hadn't seen him like around, and Millennial, right? Like talking to Millennial was, oh my God, right? Like, the scary Millennial was, right? The most right wing of right wingers, right? I mean, I just presume that if Ben was talking to Woes, then by definition, James would not want to associate with him. I mean, he'd be like, oh, you're talking with the woke right now, son. So, okay, do we go on? We've got this clip from him on, this is clearly on trigonometry. I don't know exactly what this is about.
This is, play this? Yeah, just play it.
Okay.
I mean, in 2020, in 19 or whichever it was that I finally realized I was going to vote for Trump for the first time, I realized it was my wife saying that she was going to vote for Trump. She didn't convince me. She said, I'm going to vote for him. And her attitude, if anybody knows my wife, her deal is always like, I don't really care what you think. Here's what I'm going to do. She's super based. She's like, I'm going to vote for him. And I was like, I felt, it took me a couple of days to realize what she gave me, but she gave me permission to admit that I was too. I mean, in 2020, in 19 or whichever it was that I finally realized I was going to vote for Trump for the first time, I realized it was my wife saying that she was going to vote for Trump. She didn't convince.
So in 2019, 2020, he's like, oh, I don't know if I want to tell my wife that I'm going to vote for Trump. So like, he never made the push to be right wing. And this is what happens when you're anti-communist. It's not enough to be anti-communist. You have to be right wing. Because if you're not right wing, you're still going to be like, oh, should I tell my wife I'm going to vote? What's she going to do? Peg you? What's she going to do, dude? How are you so fucking nervous about telling your wife? And she's like super, like she sounds like she wears the fucking pants in the relationship, dude. Like grow a fucking spine. And I'm only talking about him like this because of all the fucking shit he talks about people now. And he sucks at talking shit. I'm assuming Billboard Chris Rufo, a lot of them aren't the best at talking shit. So they don't. They keep it professional. And so James Lindsay keeps digging himself into a hole, picking fights with people when he has no spine in the first place.
Wasn't he already exiled from academia? I just don't understand.
Yes,
I mean, maybe it's because, he's like living in Knoxville and, it's, maybe the place he lives is kind of like quite lefty and he, doesn't want it to get around. Anti-communism is sort of a safe lefty position because you can still be, I'm against communism, but I'm not a racist, guys. Yeah, I'm not I'm still like you, right? I just don't like Stalin.
It's like heroin. You're going to relapse. If you still think about racism, you're going to relapse. You have to get away from it. You have to say, that's not a thing. It has to not affect you because he's still demoralized. He can't, I don't know what's going on in his head, but 2020, pretty much 2020, all of 2020 and all of 2023, this guy is soaring to the fucking moon. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now people are thinking he's more right-wing than he actually might be because he's anti-communist. And we have two things in society, commie and not commie. But he was trying to do the non-commie center-left classical liberalism, which I tried out. Fellas, I've tried the left. I've tried the classical liberal. You have to be right-wing. Please fucking trust me. It'll speed up so many things for you. So
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so then he does unironically come under a cancel campaign, right?
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
not from academia, right? But from a bunch of gay Jews, right? For some weird reason, right, that I cannot understand. I have my own speculative thoughts on this. This might have been some kind of shakedown operation, right? Like some kind of protection racket where this is like a common thing in the mafia, right? Where they control the source of the pain, right? And the source of relief at the same time, right? So one arm of the mafia will threaten you. And then the other arm of the mafia will come along and say, oh, look, we'll protect you, right? And of course, like they can protect you because they're the ones attacking you in the first place, right? All of a
Right.
sudden,
Okay. Yep.
this pops up, right, from this account, an open secret. Now, this account is really interesting, right? Because really all they do is it's a cancel shop, right? They only post about how awesome Israel is, right? Or how certain people need to be canceled, right? It's a very, very weird account, right? So an open secret, here it is, right? And they're like, Israeli occupation, this weird stuff. And then all the rest of it is basically, this person has to be canceled because they're a pedo in Hollywood. So they seem to be basically like a Hollywood cancel shop, right? And then they go after Lindsay, right? And they publish this. Now, I remember when this happened to James. I don't have the episode with it, but I
You've
was
talked about me
listening to it.
privately. Yeah, you've talked to me about a couple
And
times.
I actually really felt for him, right? He talked about this like a couple of months after it happened, and he said how badly it affected him and how like any single thing that he posted on Twitter, people would basically post this picture, right? Now, for those of you who haven't been in this for a long time, this was a very simpler time, right? This was back when people were saying like, oh, is this thing woke? Isn't woke, right? Man spreading, right? Remember those like much simpler days, right? Now, this is James with this girl. Oh, fuck, what's her name? Nikki Klein, right?
Yeah.
Now, Nikki Klein was part of Nixium, right? Nixium was a cult that was connected peripherally via the Bronfman sisters to Epstein and the other, Maxwell and the sort of like Jewish power nexus, right?
Sure.
And it seems like Nixium was part of a sort of cult that basically created sex slaves, right? They ran schools in various like countries around the world. They had schools in London, apparently Paris as well. Very, very creepy shit, right? And apparently their head, Keith Raniere, right, basically had this sort of mishmash of world religions, like the kind of thing that you would see come out of Operation Chickwit under MK Ultra, right? Where they're just like, how do we concoct a synthetic cult that will help us sort of control people? And for some weird reason, these guys start going after him, right? And then you have these articles appearing, right, from stuff like this, the Daily Dot, right? This is again, right, a sort of gay run by a Jewish gay person, right, who comes out, and this was like when the groomer thing was taking off, right? And like free speech advocate who popularized groomer slur wants to suppress a photo of him with a sex cult member. Now, for the record, I don't really think there's anything particularly
Same.
like, sinister about this. I don't know.
I don't now.
Maybe he fooled around with like Nikki Klein. I've got no idea, right?
Yeah.
But he did
unsubstantiated.
Totally unsubstantiated, right? Just pure. But James responded to this very, very badly. There was, he was hanging out with like a bunch of people. There's like this picture. It just looks like, they're hanging out. This is them doing like the Breakfast Club sort of thing. Doesn't look particularly sinister, right?
Right.
But this started going around. They were like, tagging him on Twitter, like basically like nonstop, trying to link him with Nixium. and basically saying, oh, well, right, like, how dare you talk about trans and grooming when you're hanging out with this chick from Nixium, right? Which, I mean...
And I mean, it's pretty desperate. They really seem like they didn't have anything else.
Well, I mean, unless, right, and again, this is rank speculation, unless, right, this was an attempt to do that thing where you threaten someone and then you swoop in and save them, right? Be like, oi, James, it turns out we know exactly what to do with people who are being cancelled. We'll help you. Because it was around this period that James seems to have developed his intense and unabiding love for the nation of Israel and the people that inhabit it. Something that has confused a lot of people. It confused me as well, right? It's like, why are you all of a sudden like just so enamored with Israel, right? And so
to the point of obvious embarrassment. Like, there's a way to sweep for something, or there's a way to cover for something, or support something, and use certain language to go around. Like, Ben Shapiro is better at doing this, right? Kind of tiptoe around it, kind of say it. He is to the point of fucking embarrassing himself.
but also, right, like Ben Shapiro is a Jew, right? Like, of course it makes sense for Ben Shapiro to stand
out the guy, why don't you?
For Israel, right? I'm just saying, right? Like, like it would be weird, right? If Ben Shapiro all of a sudden turned around and became a white nationalist. Is all I'm saying, right? If he came out and all of a sudden he was just like, oh yeah, right, like, what I really want is a white ethno state. I won't hear any criticism of like white people ever, right? And this is basically the position that James now occupies, which is why, by the way, he's getting completely destroyed by Carl in these discussions about, well, why is it okay for Israel to have a country that looks after their people, but it's not okay for England to do the same thing, right? Like,
but he is bringing everyone's attention to the fact that he has no answer. Shut the fuck up.
Yes. And this is what, again, completely unsubstantiated. I have no evidence for this, right? This is just but look, James speculates all the time.
Yes.
Right? This person is an op. This is an op. This
it's hard to give him
like
good faith.
This person's taking money from Qatar, right? So, and he doesn't even say that he is speculating, right? So I am being completely open. This is speculation, but I and a number of people I know have wondered what it was that caused this massive pivot, right? So I'm just,
I ignorantly exclaimed Benjamin a question to Ben Boyce, and I don't even think I looked for the answer of when a shift happened. Did it? I don't know. I am curious as to when the shift happened, okay? Because 2023, now the only difference I can tell is October 7th happens in 2023, and in February of 2024, not James Lindsay, Konstantin Kisin writes an article about how Tucker Carlson is woke right in February of 2024. 2024 was a slow decline into a steep free fall for James Lindsay, okay?
Well, because Trump got in, right? And fascism did not emerge, right? Like, you got to remember, like, what was going on right before 2020. Oh, if Trump gets in, Christian nationalism, Stephen Wolf, the guy from Moscow, Idaho, fucking like, what's his name? Oh my God, the Christian nationalists are coming. The Christian nationalists are coming, right? They're going to turn the US into a theocracy. How? Like with what army are they planning on? It's just the most fucking retarded thing I've ever fucking heard. Is he basically saying that like all the like Christian nationalists, quote unquote, are going to get together, raise an army, and march on DC? I mean, fuck off.
Well, that's the thing.
It's not going to happen, right?
But it's fucking 2023.
Yep.
He was saying how that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous to do that. You're essentially on a list, and then he's acting like it's going to fucking happen 2 years later. People have some questions, James. What the fuck happened? The only thing I can tell, the only thing I know, is that October 7th happens. Konstantin Kisin, who is, I would say we could agree, Israel friendly.
Absolutely. He has a great and abiding love for the nation. I mean, like he's Jewish, right? I mean, he's he interviewed Netanyahu. Like, I really think at this point, right? If you interview Netanyahu, right? Netanyahu does not do adversarial
Hold on.
interviews.
He held his feet to the fire, dude. Come on, you're not getting any journalistic respect.
Yeah, he got a light tan on his feet.
Really? Did you think he'd be able to fit both of his balls over his tongue? I didn't. He tried his hardest. He gave it his all. He gave it his balls. So,
so this is Kissen from February 17th, 2024, right? And this is this correct, Artie, that this is one of the first uses of the term woke right? Is this what you're pointing out with this?
In terms of the rhetoric and propaganda of how it's used now, yes. Technically, Hotep Jesus on January 3rd of 2024 made a video about it. It is not used in the same way. There's some instances in 2023 of people saying it. The way that it's used now, this is the first instance of it in terms of Tucker Carlson's woke right. Whoever was saying woke right wasn't saying this huge person is woke right.
So Ben makes this good point that he started to warn against right-wing overreach in 2023. I presume this is late 2023, and that I presume that's when he started talking about Christian nationalism. But the actual invention of the term woke right.
Ben, can we get a month roughly? Yeah, when in 2023? I'm trying to put everything on a timeline to make sense of it. I have numbers autism. So, I mean, if it's January versus December, because it started to be very woke righty at the beginning of 2024, and the only thing I had to connect it, which is why I don't make this, like, confidently talk about it, but since October 7th, I mean, what other huge thing happened? And he's very on the side of Israel now. So, I mean, these things, correlation is equal causation, but it's weird that he is, like, dying. He backed himself into a corner that's on a hill and is dying in the corner on the hill. I want to know what draws someone to self-sabotage to this extent.
Oh, we got another super chat from Dongus Cock 69. James Lindsay is joke right.
Fucking get him, dude. Try to fucking get back up from that one, Lindsay. Fucking get him, dude.
Do you remember? Do you remember early 2024? Oh, we were so innocent back then, right? People were still saying that Ukraine was going to win the war against Russia, right? Everyone was talking about like Putla, right? How like Zelensky was just like a hero and everyone was giving him free hand jobs on street corners and stuff, right? And then Tucker Carlson went to Moscow like a Putla-loving, Putla supporter that he was, and had the fucking temerity to say that Moscow was actually quite nice. And that he couldn't believe how cheap
no, but
was.
he also swept for Moscow. You can go to a fucking Kroger's and put in a quarter and get the fucking shopping cart, and he was like, "What is this? What?" For things that we have here, it was pretty tone deaf and out of touch, but I can see both sides.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally, right. But just, mate, just remember, everyone's like, "Oh, Ukraine's going to win," right? And I'm like, listen, man, right? Like, I've studied international relations, right? Those guys are fucked, right? They are so screwed. I knew they were fucked back in like, God, when did this? Like back in like, I don't know, late 2022 or something like that, right? It was like the end of doing like my university degree, and I did my fucking dissertation on how Ukraine was like screwed. It was not well received. They're like, "Oh, how can you say this?" I'm like, dude, they're screwed, right? Like, oh man, all my professors like, blah, 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 blah. You can't say that. Anyway, I'm fine.
Repressed memories there. Jesus Christ. So if you want, do you want to read this?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's just basically kvetching about Carlson.
Anything about the woke right, you can't listen to it. It's designed to have you check out and then just be compliant with whatever the fuck was said. It's brain rot.
Right. So Kissen interviews Tucker. He's kvetching about Tucker sweeping for Moscow, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Right. So to make it about James, we have that final video that we sent at the buzzer just before hopping on
Oh, here we go. Keep when the dissident right is going woke. Keep reading with the 7-day trial.
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't think I will. I don't think I will. I'm sure Kissin's like got more than enough like cash coming in. So wait, so what's the next thing that we're on to?
So the video of when James is either doing what Vosh says in misremembering or he's lying. He's starting to say a lot of, and this is why I started making videos. He's saying a lot of things that are not true about his own life and his own experience.
We didn't cover the Archangel Michael.
Well, this is going to lead into it.
Okay, right. So
there's this video of him explaining why he started using woke right and how he got attacked. And I mean, I could give you the fucking Brett Weinstein version or this version that we already have. He said
is this
a couple of times
the one where he's on legal insurrection? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Right. Locked and loaded. It is in the magazine. I'm just, I mean, how long we've been going for? We're over 2 hours now.
Yeah. So so we can wind down with this. That's fine.
Okay.
So what happened, it's really dumb. What happen's really dumb. President Trump, this was before the election. I had decided not to talk about this issue of the radical right, thinking the election might be somewhat existential. Until after the election. Let's not cause any trouble.
He's acting like he wasn't talking about the fucking woke right, okay? Do you have the search term for searching his account for the fucking woke right? I do. Before September 30th?
But I mean, presumably James is saying, right, he didn't try and blow it up the way that he blew up the green thing. Oh, mate, I love this meme.
Woke right be like Jews. I didn't want to antagonize them. There was an election coming up, and then what date was that? What date was that?
It's the Jews!
What date was that?
This September 14th, 2024.
So this incident that he's going to be talking about was on September 30th. Keep scrolling through. This is all woke right, September 15th, September 15th. He's actually starting his woke right spurging before this fucking election or event even happens, where the Archangel fucking thing.
Dude. I mean,
He's
this is the thing,
about it.
right? He's saying, right, that he wasn't signal boosting this because of the election. But look at this. September 15th, 2 tweets. September 16th, 2 tweets. A week later, the woke right is a growing problem.
This is just September. This isn't.
September
I haven't
14th.
shown you before September. What is this? He's texting, messaging about the woke right, posting about the woke right, fucking 20 times in September at least in fucking 3 or 4 days. So he's caught up in a whirlwind. Now, the first time he mentions the woke right is 2 months after Konstantin Kissin releases this article. And he's just mentioning in passing. So to give him the best degree of charitability, in April when he mentions the woke right, he's like, there's this thing called the woke right, and then he's throughout the summer, it was a white boy summer for James, he starts fucking spurging about him in the summer, and then come the fall, come when the leaves are changing, he is doing what he's doing now at the end of 2024. And people are getting a little concerned, okay? I mean, Tim Pool was not associating with him at the beginning of 2024. And then he went on Joe Rogan. That Joe Rogan clip that we showed you at the beginning, that's March of 2014. So we have overlap of he's still getting boosted, but the big name people aren't seeing his fucking behavior online. And it is
You mean March of 2024?
I'm sorry, what did I say?
You said 2014. Yeah, right. March of 2024.
Thank you, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So
then we have the Operation Michael debacle. Now
actually, hold on. Play the video more and let it get to this point and hear what he's saying leading up to this.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's right. We still got the video. Okay.
Thank you.
What tab is it in? Oh, come on. Oh man, my
Koja.
Fry up. Here we go.
Left-handed Roo. All right.
Found it.
But what I started to notice was that the right was getting really ornery through September and August of last year, and was starting to activate in the direction to where it was getting harder and harder for me to restrain wanting to say something. Like, there's a problem here. And what I see is this movement, which is a very small sub-movement, but a very motivated sub-movement of MAGA more broadly, is now mobilizing to take advantage of whatever happens in the election. If Kamala wins, they're talking civil war rhetoric all the time. I can see them pushing very easily into that kind of narrative, into that space. And then if Trump wins, obviously they're going to want to take advantage to fill his transition team with their own guys and to fill his administration with their guys and to place as many of them as they possibly can. So they have to mobilize before the election. Well, I decided to hold off, try to keep my powder dry, try to, triage and focus on the election, because I did think that, and I still think, as much as people might be frustrated with certain things going on in the Trump administration, we don't have a communist in the White House, and Kamala Harris is arguably a Marxist on a pretty strong argument, and Tim Walz as well. And so I tried to hold back. And then finally, President Trump at the end of September, on apparently the day of the Feast of St. Michael, or Michaelmas, or whatever it's called in the Catholic calendar.
Is that inappropriate? Just call it the day of Michaelmas?
Picture, the painting.
Is that just kind of a shitty, fuck you guys thing to do, the day of Michaelmas? Let's just say what the fucking holiday is. They obviously gave you a bunch of shit about what you said, which we'll fucking cover. But even
would you call it the day of Christmas?
I don't know what it's called.
I mean,
okay, let me show you how to be an atheist.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what it's called, but I'm not going to shit on. I'm not going to shit on it and call it the day of Michaelmas. What is it called? St. Michael's Feast? Is that what it's called? I'm pretty sure, maybe.
Yeah, it's called. I think it's called the Feast of St. Michael. Any Catholics in the chat?
He still refuses to learn what the fucking thing was after a year. God.
Well, it's probably look. I mean, okay. To be fair, right? I don't know all the Catholic feasts either, right? Now, listen, Ben raises a really interesting point, right? Which is that it was after the Trump assassination attempt in Butler, PA, right, that James started hammering, right? And Ben reckons that once sort of Trump basically sort of assumed total optics victory, right, and it just became impossible that he was going to lose functionally
time
speaking,
to target
right?
the right. I felt that same way.
Yeah, he then started which, that's true, because Butler was a huge moment. And remember, many people thought that God had saved Trump's life so that he could facilitate the war with Iran. No. I mean, so he could make America great again.
But this
obviously,
people
right?
off, including me, where I'm like, okay, perfect. The right's in charge. Time to use the hammer of the right to go after the left. And all of a sudden, while leftists are, I'm not exaggerating, my account got fucking banned. So I had a record of this. But as leftists are lighting Teslas on fire, James is literally saying, "Did you see what Groyper 1488 said?" He's like, "Bro, the left, what are you doing? We have power." This is why I'm saying, dude, he's afraid to wield fucking power. As soon as the right has power, he's like, it's so fucking Marxist. Time to attack the right because the right's in power. That feels like the switch.
Peterson did exactly the same thing, right? Peterson's suddenly worried about, what toilet Groyper 1488 is like.
They're lighting fucking cars on fire.
Right?
Here's the thing. In February of 2023, he's talking about how Antifa is committing violence in the streets, and we're focused on Christian nationalists. So he's doing the things that he was making fun of and criticizing, acting like he has no fucking idea.
Well, yeah, but it's the dialectic, bro. You know what I mean, right? Everything is a dialectic. I am convinced, by the way, that thinking in the dialectic, particularly for Gentiles, induces brain derangement, right? That you can get too far into dialectical thinking, and it can start bleeding in to everything. You become like a dialectic spurg, essentially, right? Well, you keep playing this?
Yeah, this is going to bring us to the day of St. Michaelmas.
Okay.
Of St. Michael, or Michael the Archangel, slaying the dragon of Satan. And he puts the prayer of St. Michael, which was composed, I think, by Leo the 13th, but certainly had been said at the end of a lot of masses. I think John Paul II had it stop being said at the end of a lot of masses, but it's a prayer to battle, to basically vanquish our enemies. And I saw this as out of character, for one thing, for President Trump to post, although maybe he's courting Catholics, maybe he's having a change of heart after narrowly dodging a bullet, maybe, he's just picking up religion where he sees it, wherever it happens to be, and running with it, whatever. There's a lot of reasons he could have posted that. But I found it concerning on another front because one of the dimensions of my research in the past few years is on the esoteric side of the weird beliefs that a lot of the people like at the United Nations, for example, hold. The United Nations is very tied to a theosophical occult belief structure. And part of that, whether it's the SEL in schools coming out of the Fetzer Institute, whether it's Common Core, which came from the World Core curriculum.
Now, this is a good point. I was still watching his content during this period, right? When he was talking about social emotional learning and the Fetzer Institute and all the sort of like weird crap that went into the founding of the UN, the Rockefellers and all that kind of other stuff. It is a hideous tale. Though I hate to mention this, but do you think, right, that given sort of, Israel is basically trying to like shut down the UN at the moment, do you think there's any relation between these two? I just don't know, right? Is it Spurgy to think in those
only because
terms, right? Like
of his interaction with Carl Benjamin, where what did he say to British people to just fucking sit there and take it essentially and behave and wait patiently? But then he can never apply this analysis to Israel. How much more of a cognitive dissonance can you have and give it good faith and charitability until you start wondering? Like, it's fucking over the top, dude. It's over the top.
Yeah. So Ben makes an interesting point. He's basically saying that one of the things that propelled sort of James's worldview is something similar to like the leftists, right? This sort of sense of existential emergency. And he's still got this like now actually, right? Like the world is constantly in danger of tipping, either to the left or to the right. And, and therefore we must like do stuff now.
No,
this is a
worse.
common.
He does a softer version of what the left does, where he loves to let the audience fill in the cracks. He speaks in gypsy curses sometimes. And people who are trying to understand what he's saying go, what the fuck are you talking about? Then his loyal legion of followers go, haha, you don't get it. He's very Marxist. But it's not necessarily a call to action. This is what I'm saying. The left is like a very threatening call to action. With him, I see what you're saying, where he's creating this dire sense of losing the country. And, when a fascist does that, we call them fascists and go, well, obviously people are going to commit violence if they think they're losing the country. But he's not giving any of that rhetoric, but it's the inception of extremism by definition. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, that's right. I mean, this is the other thing though, right? Like, surely that way of thinking, like divorced from any political power, would also cause you to like just sort of like start losing your shit, right? Like, I mean, especially if you had the illusion of some political power, right? Like, it's one thing to be completely locked out of the political process and be like, well, it doesn't really matter what I say, right? Like, even if everything's like going to crap. But if you actually start believing that what you say could make a difference, right? Like, you could be the difference between life and death.
You strap a bomb
for the country.
That's how do you be the difference,
straight up,
though? There's like no method. They're completely stagnant.
That's actually straight up Scientology, right? Scientology uses that trick like a lot, right? If you could be like the one thetan, right? That tips the balance, between like, it's been a long
time. I was on it like 12 years ago. I was watching documentaries. It was so fascinating.
Yeah. No, I'm like, but that, that sort of that imminence. Like, it's common to a lot of scams as well,
wear
right?
You down
like,
as well.
Even Indian phone scams. Sir, you must pay the money now, sir. Otherwise, the IRS will take money out of your account and you will be arrested and deported, sir. You must give money now. Like this, it's classic.
But even like with their like
thing.
audits, like they're constantly wearing you down. They're finding out information about you and using it against you, just constantly encroaching, constantly demoralizing to the point where you go, yeah, okay. Like, I mean, okay. People are frustrated with James Lindsay, but what a lot of people don't express, but I know for a fact they feel, is the fucking retards that follow James Lindsay. It's communists are more dangerous, but Lindsayites are more frustrating somehow. They're not worse than communists. they're so much more fucking irritating than communists. Because at least communists have like a lineage of history. Imagine talking to fucking communists in like, I don't know, 1863. When like they're just learning about Marxism while Marx is still alive, and they're like, "Ha, you haven't read Marx." They're doing that with James Lindsay. They're like, they're gonna be Lindsay-ites in fucking
But the thing is,
50 years.
it's just Vogelin, right? It's just Vogelin, right? All of this shit is just Vogelin, right? It's just this one author, right? Who basically like, and look, I like Vogelin, like, don't get me wrong, right? I've read it.
Yeah.
That makes a through line of like Gnosticism right through to socialism. Shafarevich does like a similar treatment, but it also leaves Judaism out completely, right? And, you know, again, not to Jaceberg, but you do need to explore these concepts as well if you want to sort of like really like talk about it, right? It's just Vogelin, right? Like all of them.
It's funny because Benjamin said that he got fixated on Gnosticism, I think to avoid the Judaism, because when you're researching communism, the Judaism comes up before literally anything else. I had to fight it for a year making content. I was fighting it. I was ignoring it, possibly alluding to it. I didn't try and find it. I didn't try and look for it. I still don't try and fucking look for it. I just do a cursory search and go, it's very overwhelmingly prevalent, and there was something in him to have to avoid that.
I mean, the ironic thing is, if he read Sholem and understood like Lurian Kabbalah, right? It's all in there, right? Like it's not sort of like, you know, that controversial, right? That these sort of ideas are like inherent to Lurian Kabbalism, right? I did a whole thing on it. Man, Ben says this thing that there was a moment in our conversations where I thought James would literally see Jesus and relax and dedicate himself to the monastic life. Then he began using Jesus to prove himself right.
Okay, so there was probably, he was getting weird and there was some distance, but when did you first notice he was standoffish toward you and that he wouldn't talk to you? Because he does this bitchy thing now, I'm sure Benjamin has seen it, where he talks shit about someone online and won't fucking talk to him behind the scenes. Like that kind of behavior. And I've been saying this in my videos, to be on the left, you're age regressing. You have to be on the right wing so you can grow and develop. The left, all of them show signs of extreme emotional immaturity and age regression. He's acting like a fucking middle school girl on her fucking period all the time. And when did he start being standoffish toward you? Stop returning your calls, kind of cut off contact with you. That's because like I noticed it when Ben talked to Carrie Smith, where she's like, yeah, just talk to James. And Ben's like, what the fuck do you think I'm trying to do? Like, lady, I'm trying to talk to him. He's not talking to me. Admit that he's incorrect. Carrie, please.
You've been cast into the outer void. Yeah.
Yeah, I can talk to him just fine. Why can't you talk to him? Well, I have some critical things to say to him. So can you acknowledge that he's not talking to me? And she breezes right over it. Like, it's culty, man. It's fucking creepy and weird. And it's fascinating to people when they see a legion of people acting like NPCs and they cannot criticize anything he does when he does things that are obviously open to the most severe fucking criticism known to man, which is what makes someone into a legendary cow.
Right. Continuing with this clip. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Keep going.
We'll wrap it up soon. Yes? Yep.
Okay.
Which derives from the occultist Alice Bailey, which is in this same vector. I studied all this stuff because I found out about it through education, which tied it to the UN, which I then saw reflected in, say, Julian Huxley's writings about the early UN and all of these different things. So it's not like it's way out there. But I knew, for example, that the original icon of the Fetzer Institute, which again was what ended up, it's an explicitly esoteric occult organization meant to fuse science and spirituality and create an educational program out of it for children. That's the mission of that organization. But their original emblem was an icon that they had drawn of Michael the Archangel. And they had practiced at their weekly meetings summonings of the Archangel Michael. And so there's this long, weird occult thread to Michael. And what I saw was, Trump's the figurehead of MAGA, obviously. He's humongously influential. A lot of Catholics are into it because they're Catholic, and that's fine. But a lot of people are going to get sucked into Michael the Archangel is like our warrior on our side. And this whole weird occult vision, which, by the way, also identifies in writing. I can show you the writing in Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine,
this
for
is
example.
a classic category error that James makes because he's not a Christian, right? Like, if you said, right, to a trad Catholic, how about theosophy, right? How about Helena Blavatsky? They'd be like, get that shit out of here, right? But he can't tell the difference, right? There's a whole...
Oh, we got a $5 super chat from the other Paul. Not to toot my own horn, but if you do a Lindsay Lackey tier list stream sometime, I would love to join you. I've been in the trenches against them. We at the very least need to have some sort of chat, okay? Some sort of
tag us on Twitter,
dedicated chat. And because I'm pretty sure I know a lot, but as Mr. Fist knows, I need to say things out loud to categorize all of the fucking insane things I see in the internet. It just swirls in my brain otherwise. I'm pretty sure we could do 15 and do like an A through F tier list.
Okay, so if I can just finish this point, okay,
Yeah.
right?
All right,
you know how voodoo, right? Like Haitian voodoo, okay, right? Uses Catholic saints, right? Because the whites came in, right, and like so the it's called a syncretic religion, right? So like the voodoo priests, they just like renamed their gods as Catholic saints, right? That doesn't mean that Catholics would indulge in voodoo, right? Like it's a completely retarded thing, right? Like, you know, because you look at what these people do and what they say and be like, that's not Christianity, that's fucking voodoo, right? But again, only a Christian would.
Well, it's similar to what Benjamin said, where he became really obsessed with Gnosticism. And so, you know, when you're a hammer, everything's a nail. And I don't know what he has in his head. He has something in his head that he needs to be true. And he is no longer being empirical. When he applied this analysis to the left, it was empirical because they were constantly lying. A truth married to a lie. Everybody was sharing this reality with James. And James, at some point, goes, this has to exist on the right, equal and opposite. Fellas, how often does he say equal and opposite? And he's acting like Dave Smith read Julius Evola. Like, it takes such a huge fucking leap so fucking quickly.
Oh my God, bro. Evola posting. So Todd Sullivan says that James actually had a book before Everyone is Wrong About God called God Doesn't, We Do. Only Humans Can Solve Human Challenges. Published in 2012. I got to look that up.
Wow. While he was a massage therapist swinging around a sword, being a tough guy that liked to cuddle with the ladies or whatever the fuck that article said.
Okay. Let's finish this. We got about another 3 minutes of this. Okay.
Yep.
It identifies Michael the Archangel as identical with Satan. So they believe that there's this weird esoteric spiritual occultist thing there. And so I put out this tweet, guys, saying, guys, this isn't great. Like, be careful with this. I don't think this is very Trump. So I think somebody put Trump up to this. And here's this occult stuff you might actually want to be aware of. And man, did I get blowback? Okay, so let's just assume that I said something stupid and insensitive on the internet. I don't think I did, but let's just say that I didn't word it well enough.
This just sounds like somebody that cannot take any accountability at all. So now let's look at it. So maybe I just didn't word it correctly. It's like, no, you implied that General Mike Flynn might be evil because he was like, bro, it's just let us celebrate this holiday. Who gives a fuck? It's not a threat. This is the issue. I found the crux of the issue. James Lindsay started doing what the left did, which is focus on things and acting like they're a threat when they're not a fucking mortal threat. It's irritating. It's very frustrating.
Imagine if like Greenblatt like tweeted out something for some like Jewish holiday, right? Like James turns around and is like, you know, the Frankists like used this holiday, right?
That would be based because it's actually fucking threatening and true.
Right? You know, like he does like a Candace Owens kind of thing. He's like, the Frankists like also celebrated this holiday, right? Oh my God. So wait, hang on, we're looking for the tweet.
Yes.
Yep. Hang on, I've got it. Operation Michael is
Okay.
designed to undermine the anti-woke right.
I'll start cutting
damn-
my. You fucking read this thing, dude. Just scroll down. I get it. People are fucking doing shit. I get it, dude. So scroll down. It wasn't.
Oh my god, this is so long. Holy shit.
I know. This is what he does. And then you have to read all of it and agree with all of it. So, General Mike Flynn, you're nuts. Yesterday was the Feast of St. Michael. Can't you simply appreciate a prayer instead of spewing your philosophical bullshit? Because he expects everybody, like, the most people do not read your long block of text on X. If you don't have autism, you just understand that. Most people go, that's a bunch of fucking shit. Why should I read it? So he just sees that and goes, yeah, dude, what are you doing? Like, it's a fucking holiday. Let us celebrate the holiday. Who gives a fuck? It's not a threat. You're trying to morph what this means. And then he mentions my name, and I'm not going to allow anyone any longer to spew complete. And I think he might have been talking shit to Mike Flynn before this, too, is what it sounds like.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Keep scrolling down.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going.
What else is like Flynn saying?
No, there should be a James Lindsay response to.
Is there? Here we go. With all due respect, General, I think you're nuts, or I hope you are. Evil would be worse.
It's that catty, bitchy, passive aggressive. He didn't call him evil. I hope you're nuts. Evil would be worse. It's that bitchy, fucking backhanded, passive aggressive, fucking female behavior that men don't fucking appreciate.
And look at his orbiters as well, right? Like this guy, like Visible Trouble. Like I've talked to him, right? Just calls Michael Flynn a theosophist, right? Like just asserts, right? You're not a Catholic, you're a theosophist. How the fuck would you know this? Right? Like, and by the way, this is very, very offensive to Catholics or, Christians generally. And this starts the arc for which he becomes known for, right? And it starts tanking his popularity because
Michael Flynn's profile, real quick.
He goes around and he's just basically saying to people, oh, you're not a real Christian. Everyone's like, but you're a fucking atheist, right? Like
2.1 million followers.
Yeah.
It's not just some schlub he's talking to.
Yeah.
James Lindsay has the hierarchy over everybody else in his mind. He's not speaking to anybody else like they're above him. Like, he's above you in terms of the religion. Like, know your place, chill, and just be like, yeah, I said it. I should wait to say this. I'm sorry to ruin your holiday. Okay. But, like, this guy is a popular guy, and people are going to be like, hey, what are you doing? And then he just lashes out at everybody around him like a fucking wounded dog, dude. What happened to him? Who hurt you, James? I know Marxists usually say this to somebody when they have no argument. I want to know who wounded you so badly, where you have to lash out on anyone that disagrees with you to imply that he's fucking evil. This is where he plummets. He's starting to nosedive a little bit.
Yep.
Fucking September 30th of 20. He probably has it tattooed on him somewhere. This is where it all started fucking going downhill in an extreme way, because then the fucking and then, like Ben said, then the election happens, and then he starts completely going after the right. But he's fucking lying, dude. He acts like this was the catalyst. It wasn't. He was talking shit about the woke right months before this. So either he doesn't remember, or he just is so divorced from the truth that he's making things up, whether or not he knows it, but you deserve to be criticized. And this is people's fucking problem with him, because if he was just doing that, it would be one thing. But what he's doing is getting in the way and trying to interfere with a right-wing consciousness and a right-wing reality and white people getting together and advocating for themselves. He can call me liberal and say, I disagree with you. But the liberal position is you have the right to do that, whether or not I agree with it. That's the liberal position, is whites get to collectivize because everybody else is. That would be the liberal position, but he's doing something that's very nefarious, and it rubs people the wrong way. Let's hear his interpretation of what happened here.
Right. Where is it? Is this it?
Well, no, his interpretation would be the rest of the video, I believe.
Okay, right. Hang on. Where is it?
Sorry.
It's
Oh wait,
okay.
this is good though. This is good right here. Hold on. So this is the first time he ever mentioned the woke right, April 21st, 2024. The problems include woke left, fake right, cringe/woke right. This is 2 months after Constant Kissing, so it's just swirling in his brain here. Now, I think we found something. Thank God Ben was here. He was going down the Gnosticism wormhole, and this came up with his resistance, his PTSD from Judaism, that he can think about anything but Judaism, so he had to blame it on other occultist, ethereal things. It came up with that, and then the woke right, he didn't invent it, but it, like what the left does, they take something that already exists and then they run with it. I think is what happened. I think he is too blind to be doing something maliciously.
Look at this. So this might be April 1st, 2024. The first person to ask Lindsay, what is the woke right? Right? And his reply is the seemingly repressed gay hard right that pushes proto-fascism or outright fascism as a solution to America's problems.
So Nazis? So you're just a leftist that's calling people fucking Nazis, you fucking faggot, dude? It's so annoying. He's so bitchy and passive aggressive and acting like he's doing something new. The woke right, you're just calling them Nazis. That's why people don't like you.
Yep. You're just calling them Nazis. Okay, right. So wait, back to this video. Hang on, wait.
Yeah, we'll cap it off with this video just to see if he could accurately remember history.
Here we go. Right.
Pretty sure there was like 3 minutes left in the video.
Sensitivities, fine. So you get, people saying, dude, that was awkward, or it kind of falls flat, or you get some ugly comments back. That's not what happened. I got a full-scale explosion, the likes of which I'd only seen twice before. Once was not when we released a grievance studies affair. It was when I got let back onto Twitter. The left went after me. The left got me kicked off Twitter in the old days in 2022 for 5 months. Elon bought it. During those 5 months, brought me back. And I was subjected to one of the worst, online struggle sessions I've ever seen. Basically for a month, relentless harassment for a month by the left. When I
Real
got
quick,
let back
we
on.
have Todd Sullivan with a $5 super sticker,
announced-
which appears to be a pear with a headband dropping a microphone. Thank you.
It's a cute mic drop. Thank you, Todd. Awesome.
Announced in late summer of 2020 that I intended to vote for Trump, and I was still had ties in the left intellectual sphere, and they lost their freaking marbles on me. And so I've only had attacks on that scale a couple of times. So I see this. I'm starting to get phone calls from people who have invited me to speak, and they're saying, I'm getting calls from people saying you hate Christians and that we can't have you or our donors are going to drop us. This is actually a cancellation. The blowback on social media is way out of proportion. There's everything you try to do to explain makes it worse. And everything just gets twisted further.
Yeah, because he's not
getting invited. Not getting invited is being canceled, by the way. Not getting invited. We don't want you to come and speak here. They're not stopping you from making money. You're not getting fired. Yeah. They're going, hey, liberal, freedom of fucking association. Sucks when somebody breaks up with you. But he is ignoring all of his behavior before that. He's already burning the bridge with Tim Pool, with Carl Benjamin at the beginning of 2024. People are already not liking him. He went into some sort of narcissist mode where it's just extreme Darvo, where he's the victim and he didn't do anything wrong. It's, yeah, maybe just done something a little bit. No, you're fucking literally making up a right wing. You're calling out the woke right. You're calling people woke right. You're fucking contradicting yourself for several months. But to his memory, he didn't do anything until that day. So he's living in a different reality.
But also, right, I cannot stress this enough. He's not a Christian, right? And he's going around, his business model is going and talking to Christians, right? He's sort of and he's telling Christians, oh, you're a real Christian. You're not a real Christian, right? That is not a way to ingratiate yourself with Christians, right? He wouldn't do it to any other religious group. What do you think he goes up to the Hindus and is like, actually, sir, right? You are not a real Hindu. No, right? And he does it because, right, like those fucking like new atheists, it's like, oh, I've read the Bible. Yeah, but you didn't fucking understand it, did you?
Yeah, but the new
Right?
atheists are only brave enough to go against fucking Christianity for the most
Yeah,
part.
that's right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Further and further in this narrative. So I said, oh my God, they're canceling me over that, which means they were waiting for something to cancel me over because it's too stupid to cancel me over that. So they're trying to take me off the table in advance of this power grab that I believe they're going to.
Again, it is not stupid, right? You disrespected all of the Catholics, right? And then when they told you that you disrespected them, right? You said, oh,
So-
you must be evil. You're not real Christians.
This is what I'm saying about age regression. Are you trying to make it sound like you're talking to a 7-year-old right now? Because that's how you sound explaining this. But it's so obvious that it's like you're explaining it. You're literally explaining it to a James Lindsay like he's 7 years old. I don't think you're trying to be condescending, but how do you not understand why people were so mad at you?
The other Paul for $5 Australian. Thank you very much, mate. Timmy didn't invite me to his Mario Kart 64 birthday party. This is actually a cancellation.
Okay, he does have some chops. Very good. That's a good one.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
very
he
nice.
didn't get invited. I have one more very short video after this one just to show James Lindsay again calling it a cancellation because he stopped getting invited. So let's just power through this.
Okay.
Have that I've already been kind of indicating I'm aware of. Crap, they're going to move. So I was like, okay, they're canceling me. Woke right. They're woke. They're doing woke stuff. They're coveting power. They have a plan. And they have to get their enemies off the table. And it wasn't just me, people who might see through it or call it out or disagree with it. They were taking out other people in the movement as well who, you know, were targets that they could end up rallying around, often in very, you know, ugly and inappropriate ways. And I just thought, it's now. Now is the time to fight this before they can start filling the administration, before they can take over the transition teams.
Oh, God. And none of it happened, right? None of it happened. There were no wolves in the transition
This
team.
is the fear Ben's
right?
talking about. It's pushing the fear.
Wilson from
the fear. It's imminent.
Moscow, Idaho was not in the transition team, right? Like none of my Christian extremists, right? Like wound up in the transition team. Like it's all
You want to know
bullshit.
why they didn't? Is because the federal fucking government was headhunting Christian nationalists like he knew fucking 2 years ago. Everything he said never happened to him. It's a psychosis. So I sent you the video of him claiming being fucking like lashing out about his fucking cancellation fucking once again.
Okay.
It's drama shit, dude. He was canceled. And then when somebody else is actually fucking attempted to be canceled, he shits on them. He wants it's just like Hassan Piker. He wants unlimited charitability, and he wants to give no charitability, which is one of the most unlikable characteristics of a public figure that can possibly happen.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that like I find really, really amusing is that James like hates the Jacebergs, but he's always talking about the they, right? And how like everything's a conspiracy and everything's an op, right? I mean, it's like it's horseshoe theory. It's like pottery, right? Except I think that he believes like the shadowy they are like the Chinese, right? Or like he's Michael O'Fallon loves to bang on about the CCP. I think he's just, he's like, oh, there's a shadowy they controlling the US government. It's not Israel. it's the UN and China. And you're just like, so the UN and China is influencing the US government to go to war with Iran? Like, I mean, what the fuck? Like, really? Okay, right. Okay, so let's play. This was right. So this is the arc where he starts going on all these like much smaller.
And now
podcasts.
we're present day. So if anybody wants to get caught up on James Lindsay, though, that's the whole point of this. I don't want to keep doing the new crazy shit he did. I want something you can go to look at his history throughout. And fellas, round of applause for fucking Benjamin Boyce. Everybody, please. Didn't expect him to show up in the chat and be so helpful, contextualizing stuff, giving me pushback on things that I was saying that was out of line. Fucking very gracious that this is in recorded history that he was here.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. We really appreciate it because you were there on the ground, mate. Right?
Exactly.
Like, so thank you very much. Okay, so present day.
And this,
enjoy.
all future. It's not on screen. All future James Lindsay things will now be current things that he's doing. Now this has brought us up to speed. This is August 26, 2025. I think this was recorded. No, that's when I put it up there. This is recorded from like three or 4 months ago.
Okay.
Inflamed at you as they did.
No, they freaking canceled me.
That I know. I saw it.
Who canceled you, James?
The conservatives.
Yeah,
the
they did.
woke right got the conservatives.
How do they cancel you though? Because you're still
Okay.
doing it, right?
No,
You're not.
I used to be invited to speak places. I don't get
I
invited.
see.
To speak
I see.
places.
Okay.
Oh.
So you're not invited to parties anymore. Interesting.
No, I'm not invited.
Canceled.
Did you lose your bank account? Did you get your kids taken away from you? Did you wind up in a jail? Oh,
He
no.
just hosted his fucking own event in Dallas, dude. Shut the fuck up. See, this is the shit people don't like. But you hear his tone? He sounds like a child.
Oh my god.
Listen to it.
Fucking
Look at his
hell.
demeanor and listen to his voice, dude. It's age regressing.
To any of the parties. You seen
Not
me
even
at
like
any
a
of those?
MAGA thing.
You see me in any of those pictures at the White House with anybody yet? No,
Yeah.
you haven't.
I was actually going to ask you, like, if you have any access to the Trump administration, because they can
No,
really use you as
total-
an advisor.
I'm not just blacklisted. There's a halo of
Really?
radioactive around me. People who are too close of friends with me are blacklisted from the administration
Oh no.
because
That's
of these
silly.
sons of bitches.
He could really use you, and also like
And
I
people
don't-
then come to me
would.
like, "What power do they have?" And I'm like, "Seriously, dude." They control who has access to the fucking White House. They control conservative media. They control the conservative movement.
Is he talking about the
What
moves?
power do they have? Are you out of your fucking?
Like, I could easily
cool
cut
with
that.
the anti-Semitic remarks, bro.
I could easily make a fucking cut there where I ask James Lindsay what he thinks about the Jews, and then he says that. It's the fallacy of interchangeability, where you're so vague and you're so nebulous and non-descriptive or specific about who you're talking about, where it can be applied to the exact opposite of what you're saying.
Yeah, you did that clip of Jordan Peterson
Yeah.
doing exactly the same thing. Yeah, that was hilarious.
minds?
I feel like Trump is like in a lot of ways
They're
like, on the
about
same
to
page as
kill
you,
the
though.
Daily Wire because they don't want mainstream conservative values and voices.
No, they're killing the Daily Wire is going downhill because everyone's angry at the Israelis. Like, what the fuck,
Well,
dude?
no,
right?
not only that, but they mismanaged the money. They tried making movies. What do you think the return was on their movies versus the amount of money they tried to do really big, adventurous, high cost things. Like the opportunity cost of what they were doing was high risk, probably medium reward. You weren't going to get, I heard that Jeremy Boring was like really into movies, so they're like a portion of his ego played into that, wanting to make movies and whatnot. But they took really adventurous business model.
You know, there's a lot of scams connected to like movies and movie insurance, right? And it's like possible you can make a movie, and if the movie fails, you wind up getting actually more money than if the movie succeeds. This has been like a long-standing thing in Hollywood. There's a film, Mel Brooks, called The Producers. That basically this is the entire plot of that movie, right? They're trying to make the most god-awful movie possible so that it'll bomb, so they can collect on the insurance. So
Right.
you know.
And I sent you one final meme from Saga and Avocad, which really just ties this whole thing together. Fellas,
Okay.
James Lindsay is still left. He's too left. You can be capitalist and still be on the left. And the left is just too effeminate. It makes you easy to fucking demoralize. It makes it so you're still you still feel guilty and you can't be proud of anything that a person on the right wing would be fucking proud of, race, whatever it is. I'm not on some pro-white shit necessarily, okay? Now, I was a liberal for a long time, and I was advocating for gays. I'm not gay, no matter what you think. And I was advocating for blacks. I'm not black, very believable. But now I'm advocating for white people in the same way that I was advocating for those marginalized groups. I thought marginalized meant minority group. Marginalized means any group whose concerns are not taken seriously, not looked at, avoided, ignored. That is happening with white people. And to me, it's a liberal position to be like, oh, you should be able to advocate for yourself just like everybody else does. So there's just a minimum that you need to be on the right wing or the far right. It's not horseshoe theory. It's fucking fishhook theory, where they've convinced you that both sides are fucking equal when what have they called far right? The most normal fucking things. The most normal, healthy things in society, the left has called far right. What the fuck is James Lindsay calling woke right? Advocacy for your people?
No, look, people started asking me about this ages ago, right? And the definition that I gave them, right, is people on the right who don't like Israel, number one, and people on the right who are actual Christians as opposed to Judeo-Christians, right? Who want to wield political power. I mean, that's basically it, right? Like as far as I can tell, because he never, like, James is okay with Christianity as long as it's not any kind of Christianity that would actually make political claims, right? But
Right.
Again, he doesn't want to say that because then people might start saying, well, if we had a Christian polity or if we had more Christian laws, then maybe these horrible things wouldn't have happened, right? And of course, he's not going to sort of, well, he's kind of like going there now, but especially at the time, he wouldn't explicitly say, you're woke right if you don't support Israel. And there's a lot of overlap because, Christianity and Judaism have a very, very fractious history. And it's a very relatively recent innovation, this idea that the two can sort of coexist like this weird sort of two-headed mutated hydra, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So is that it? Have we got more, or are we at the end of the?
Dude, what do you want me to do to you right now? We covered the history. We brought us to today because we did 3 hours on the history. Okay.
Yep.
On just what James Lindsay has said today could be 3 hours. It's too much. So now we'll be able to kind of draw back upon. I'm already planning on talking about him next week. There's so much on it. It leads to such healthy conversations about things that we should talk about. He's a great. What do I call him? He's a skeleton key to talk about all the things that we need to talk about in society, based on the fucking.
Well, yeah, because he is undermining by making such a terrible defense of liberalism. He is actually sort of exposing the really inherent flaws in it, right? And I hate liberalism as a term because it's so imprecise. Like, what precisely, do you mean by this, right? But again, it's one of those things. Well, look, we just make it really vague. And then we can sort of shift it to cover like whatever we want. I think it was like AA who made this really, really good point that in words like this, it just functionally means whatever a government does with that label, right? So liberalism is just a quote unquote liberal government doing things, right? Communism is just a communist government doing things, right? And it just shifts because when a government that calls itself that wants to do a thing, they always couch it in those terms because of course they would, Right.
Now, today I just started memberships, fellas, and when you support the channel, you're not just supporting me, you're also supporting Mr. Fist, where he has to get a sharpened belt buckle from the black market just to defend himself. But also you're supporting something larger than yourself. We've partnered with the Nationalist International Gentlemen's Guild Eradicating Rank Smells. Climate change is a real thing. The political climate, along with demographics, have completely changed. Many of us have nasal fatigue, whether it's the eye-watering smell of curry or the dog shit whiff of boiling leather. Our partnership reduces these emissions with every donation. So remember, fellas, don't ask permission to remove the emission. Wow. Ad reads, huh? I'm really getting fucking big time over here, right? Jesus.
Oh, yeah, man. Look, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, mate. You know what I mean, right? You can, after this, you can check out
we got a hard R fella. There's 2 tiers. There's a soft A fella and a hard R feller. So someone just became a hard R feller. And oddly enough, his name is Big Nick Digger. I really appreciate that, especially after that speech. That's fucking perfect. Oh, fuck. Someone just gifted a membership, dude. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is the day the memberships were born, so I really appreciate that. Hello? I'm too little, Mr. Fist. I don't know how to say hi or bye. I need you here to play us out. Please come back. Please come back. Benjamin Boyce for $10. Great stream. Show your faces, faggots. Well, I didn't know you were capable of such language. This is like watching my fucking dad not be able to dunk a basketball right now. I'm like, oh my God, my perfect little boy. I don't have, so that he actually raises a good point. Show your faces. Sure. I don't have any incentive to show my face at all whatsoever. I don't have any incentive.
Yeah, well, you can see my beautiful face on my other streams, on my twice weekly news show, Happening TV, Monday and Thursday at 8 p.m. London time. If that's the kind of like thing that you're into, you can find all my links at www.newsfist.net. If you want to see my beautiful face, like whatever. Artie, of course, he's very, very shy. He has this sort of like massive growth on his head that he's been trying to cure with Marxism and mentalatum, but it just isn't working, bros. Right?
This isn't my first internet life. This is my second internet life, and I'm just avoiding my first internet life from fucking getting out as long as humanly possible. Okay, I've already told you too much.
All right. Okay, let's go. We're up on 3 hours. Oh my God, that was such a marathon stream. Thank you so much for everyone who super chatted. Thanks to Benjamin Boyce for like showing up. Right, really appreciate that, mate. And thank you to all the people in the chat. We love you. We'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. It will probably just be riding this Lindsay horse for like a while because as long as he keeps doing stupid shit.
This isn't even anything he's done recently.
Yep.
All right. I love you, fellas. I got the best, fellas. Have a good one.
Good night, everyone.